Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. Asadasa, what's up?
What's going on FUNKNOwn?
You're FUNKNOwn, did you say?
What's going on? You're FUNKNOwn.
Oh, I'm fun. Okay, I'm FUNKNOwn.
I can be FUNKNOwn for the day if we want. It's E3, so we're going to be doing so special stuff, you know what I'm saying?
It's that time of year again, baby.
Hell yeah. It's coming, man. It's almost here.
It's probably one of my top 3 favorite times of the year.
Tell me the other two real quick.
Christmas.
Word.
And probably Halloween.
Probably Halloween.
Halloween is dope. I don't know. It's tough because it's either Halloween or like something in the summer because of the weather. You know, like maybe 4th of July because everybody's shooting each other with fireworks.
There you go. See, that makes sense. And that seems like you're certain. Whereas with Halloween, you're kind of like, probably Halloween. It's like you got to be... It's gonna be one of your top 3 favorites. You gotta be
you know,
like,
it's dying a bit out here. You know, you don't see as many kids walking around anymore.
That's true. That is true.
Treating people putting raisins in their candy in the Hershey's bars.
Well, that's what you're doing. I mean, you're out here actively leading to the decline.
You're not supposed to be spilling my government like that. My information.
My bad. Pull that back. We'll edit that one out. You know, we'll have to put that out there.
No, that's good. That's perfect. There were no lines crossed yet.
True.
Fast and loose, baby.
That's how it is. But you know, we'll see how things go. Maybe we'll start talking about razors. Next thing we're talking about, all of a sudden, first public E3, everyone's getting
slipping Somalis in the Smarties candies. You know,
exactly. Who knows what's gonna happen, right? So we're out here. We're gonna talk about E3. We're at this point, as of the recording, we're about 2 days out. Starting early this year, man.
By the time we're recording, it'll be 3 days until the Saturday.
Yeah.
Which EA starts off. EA is starting off, right?
EA starting us off, starting off strong. Hopefully, you know.
Hey, last year, you know, are they gonna show us a concept art trailer?
Yeah, right. That's a good question.
And by that, I mean just concept art on a computer that we're watching people give like a behind-the-scenes video of.
Of course, right. You know? And someone else talking about what the ideal process and all the concepts of the games are.
Because you get those concept art trailers where a couple minutes long and they have nice music in the background. It wasn't even that.
Right.
So we'll see what kind of EA we get this year.
It's like that Call of Duty back when they first showed, like, which Call of Duty was it with the dog?
Ghosts?
Was it Ghosts?
Yeah.
And you see the picture
of the fish AI?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was Ghosts.
And the fish AI and the dog just kind of opening his mouth that you just kind of see all the time, man.
Will we see a dog as a main character? No, I'm just kidding. We're not getting into predictions.
Hey, man, we might, but, you know, we'll see how that goes.
We'll say that for Activision.
Right. So EA, are they doing the whole EA Play thing, too, this year?
I believe so. EA Access is their service on Xbox, so it's Play, right?
Right. It was Play last year, and they had like a whole big like so it's a little weird because with EA like last year, that's why they're so separate and they're so early now. Is they went out like 2 days before everyone else last year, and they did their whole EA Play thing, and that's when I remember like they had that whole Battlefield event, and there was all that stuff going on.
Snoop Dogg was smoking a blunt.
Hell yeah, just out there, just doing it, you know.
He don't care.
You know, why would he, man? And what's his name from? I'm gonna say from Neighbors, but he was from more stuff.
There's a whole bunch of actors.
A lot of them. Yeah. They're just there. They were all high.
Oh yeah.
Jamie Foxx is out there. Just out there.
It's a cool environment though to be playing Battlefield and, you know, like smoking aside, just everybody getting together, having an event like that.
Right.
Obviously they're doing it because they're actors. They wanted to, although probably some of them really are interested in whatever they were doing. Like,
right.
Was Terry Crews there? I want to say, because Terry Crews recently, he started to go off on a quick tangent, but he started a YouTube channel. Built a gaming computer.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that at all.
And rumor has it, he might be a character in Overwatch. But, you know, they're going back to the point, there's definitely celebrities involved in gaming, and it's always interesting to see.
Absolutely. I didn't know that about Terry Crews at all. That's cool. I generally like Terry Crews. Sometimes he's got some opinions that are a little bit out there, but I'm a fan of him. Yeah, you know.
He's acting, he's funny.
But like, you know, I wouldn't be, if they do decide to do like a EA showcase, like, so let's get into, I guess, what EA would have. Like, what would they do that for this time? Would it be Battlefront?
Well, I know the first gameplay reveal is going to be on Saturday.
Okay.
So I'm sure they'll probably have some big event because they've already said they're gonna have a multiplayer showcase of it.
True.
So
that would be the one then, I guess, right?
Because they got to blow the lids off on this. There's a lot of hype building up for this game, and a lot of expectations that are set, especially coming off of the first one.
Right.
Where people wanted so much more than what they were offering and expecting more, and now that we're actually getting a campaign, which I think the premise sounds cool.
So what is the premise that they have so far?
So the premise is it takes place between episode 6 and 7.
Okay.
Well, more specifically, right after episode 6, when Death Star is destroyed, and you're the stormtrooper. I forgot her name, but they're in the battlefield. What?
Ray?
No, a stormtrooper.
Oh, all right.
You're a general or something, or a captain. I don't know. But the premise is you see the Death Star being destroyed while you're in a battle. So it's like, think of just putting yourself into their shoes. You know, they're fighting this war that for a cause they believe that she's been raised her whole life. And like I think her father, like backstory was that her father was in the empire for forever working, and she was raised in this environment. So she thinks that her cause is right.
Right.
So now she sees this Death Star being blown up, this massive strongholds for not only the military but a lot of I'm assuming there's some families on there, people, loved ones and whatnot. Your whole world just gets literally blown to shreds. So how do you pick up the pieces from that? Where do you go? And as a leader, I'm curious to see what her attitude is like afterwards, how she commands her troops in the face of such a devastating attack.
Right.
I don't know. I'm just very curious to see where the story specifically goes without going into multiplayer yet.
I'm with that too. I haven't been following it too much, to be honest. I played the first one and I wasn't so big on it. But that definitely has it kind of got me intrigued on what the topic of that is. So is it supposed to be entirely over the place of do you think it goes into 7 at all, or is it just that time period between 6 and 7 is a bridge? I
would guess it's probably just because they've said already she's going to be the only character, I believe, that you're playing. So it's not going to be similar to Battlefield where you jump around different characters.
Right.
So unless they do a time skip of some sort, I don't know. I don't see it jumping too much into later trilogies. Whereas in the multiplayer, which is obviously not part of the canon,
right,
they're definitely going to... I love the fact that they've already announced that the prequels are going to be part of it. So you saw Darth Maul already with Yoda, and then you saw new stuff with Rey.
Right.
So I don't know. It looks awesome.
Now, what was it that they had for the original Battlefront? The Battle of, what was it, Jakku?
Jakku, yeah.
And when does that take place? Was that in the same time period?
I think that was after...
after 7?
After 7, I believe.
Okay.
I can't recall.
Me either.
I know it was... I don't know. I don't want to talk without full certainty.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's definitely after 6. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, because I remember And
Jakku was a new area that we haven't seen previously.
Right, and I feel like it was mentioned in the movie. And then there was the Battle of Jakku.
As we're talking about it, I'm starting to think of now the Star Destroyer that was crashed. Mm-hmm. So I think it was at least during the events of 7.
Right.
Because the references you're talking about, yeah.
Because that's the only frame of reference I have for it, because I never actually played the battle on Battlefront. Yeah. I never got a chance to actually do it. So I'm not too sure what the specifics of it are, but I think that'd be interesting if it was something where it's they have that in this original game, and they kind of branched off from that and kind of built something on top of that.
Yeah.
I think just the concept of doing this kind of gap story type thing is pretty cool though.
Yeah.
That's a little exciting. That's got me kind of renewed my interest in that game, at least in a lot of ways. It wasn't.
Did you dive at all into the multiplayer of Battlefront 1?
I did, and it
didn't stick with you.
Yeah, wasn't so into it.
That definitely seemed to be the case with a lot of people. That population dropped off hard and fast.
I'll be honest too. With me and Star Wars, I'm not I'm super casual with it. I still haven't seen Rogue One.
Ooh, so that's a good movie. You should check it out.
Yeah,
it has its flaws, but.
I heard, it sounded like a lot of people were super into it, but I haven't had the time, and then it ends up being something where, I don't know, they're coming out with episode 8, I guess, this year, right? It's kind of I might as well, I guess, wait. I don't know how directly
maybe closer to when 8 comes out, just bang it out.
Just fucking go for it, But
it's cool for the fact that it's just a nice package, a contained story,
right?
And it kind of, I don't know if you know, but it ties up some parts where in the 3rd movie, it was episode 6 rather.
Right.
Where it was like, all right, this is some shit. No, it was, what am I talking about? Episode 4, where the Death Star got destroyed by Luke.
Right.
It was like, all right, that's some shit. How is that possible? But then this movie is like, okay.
True.
It tells you a little tidbit.
I mean, it sounds interesting. It's just like, a matter of the time to do it, and then like, I guess my position too, it's all side stories, which is weird, but like if they tie them into stuff, that's cool, but also at the same time too, like I don't know what to think about, like, well, we're gonna come out with 7, 8, and 9, and also like, here's a movie with like young Han Solo and shit.
Yeah, that's different, because that's like, that's a prequel. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious to see where that goes. Mm-hmm. But yeah. No, like you were saying, it's something that ties into the main things that they're focusing on. Yeah. Which I think Rogue One does. I think you'd be interested to check that out.
For sure. Did they say anything about if this game is supposed to be stuff that's like is it all, like, obviously it's new content, right? But is it like stuff that's going to be part of the canon, or is it going to be like just kinda...
it's definitely going to be part of the canon.
That's cool.
So the storyline, as I said before, definitely... which is interesting because they recently rebooted the whole Star Wars.
Exactly, like all the extended universe stuff is like gone.
Yeah.
So like that's also the other part where, like, for me, a lot of the Rogue One and side story stuff kind of rings a little hollow, because like I was never one into like all the extended universe stuff. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, well, here's like our version of the extended universe, and it's like I don't know how much of a time I have to devote to that sort of stuff when I'm at base level, like I'm a casual fan,
Yeah. So is there anything, before I talk about what I want to see in the multiplayer, is there anything you want to see first, for going off of the time you played in Battlefront 1?
I mean, honestly, one of the things I was really wanting was like some actual single player experience. So like when you started to tell me about that at all, like that kind of, like that alone, I think is super sufficient for me in terms of what I would actually want. Like if that actually is substantial, and isn't just like a 1 or 2 hour long campaign. If there's actually some kind of meat to that, and that's actually pretty exciting. Yeah, I'm hoping alone. So. What would you want to see?
Well, for the multiplayer, I want to see specifically some changes to like how some of the systems work, like the interplay between ships and ground combat, which they've said they're going to make improvements in, and I think they even said recently they have a separate team working on ship combat to be better with ground combat. But I want them to get away from like the token system, where which is like you got on the map is just a spinning Star Wars token, and you pick it up, and then you spawn in the sky, and then you get your vehicle. Right. Whereas something like Battlefield or Halo, for example, you have like the vehicles or even the old Battlefront games, you have the vehicles on the field, and then you have to walk to them, get them, and then it's just a completely different vibe that you get from the game having it like that. Right. As far as the shooting mechanics themselves, I thought the first game received a lot of flack for how simplified it was compared to other games, but I can understand why they did it, because ideally they wanted to create a casual, friendly multiplayer game for Star Wars, not something that, like Battlefield, for example, you gotta lead your shots and you gotta like really worry about trajectories of your snipers, and it's really in depth. But Battlefront is like you point and shoot. Laser beams.
That's a good question though. Is like, do you think it's going to be entirely laser beam style focused, or is it going to be like you'll have some explosives of some kind?
Oh, they had explosives and different things like that, and they had abilities in the first game too, like bubble shields and jetpacks and whatnot.
One of the abilities was to turn into like Darth Vader and stuff.
That's a power up. That's one of the, like, the same issue I found with the first game. A lot of people took issue with too. Is the same way they treat heroes in that game. Okay. Unless if it's like a specific mode where it's heroes versus villains, where like 3 people spawn as heroes and then the rest spawn as stormtroopers. But otherwise, they said that they're gonna make it more of like a kill streak. Like depending on how well you're doing, then you get the hero. Although something like that I hesitate against. Yeah. Because even though it may seem like you'll have more of an opportunity to use it than Battlefront 1, I still don't think that's really efficient enough, because that's too reliant on the people doing, like, if it's more skill points and like naturally gathering points and then you become like everybody gets to play a hero. Right. That's a little better. But if it's more like you got to get 25 kills to use Darth Vader, that's absurd. Yeah,
it's also because at that point too, like, Darth Vader should be a powerhouse. So it's like if you're fucking racking up 25 kills, and all of a sudden you're this strong dude, it's like, well, it's like, so like basically at that point, it's the nuclear option from fucking Call of Duty, where it's just like, what, the game's over at that point, right?
Yeah. So I mean, it's on them to have a good balance of the heroes versus just regular combat soldiers. But I'm curious to see how they do that, because now, like the first game lacked some iconic heroes like Yoda. That's just crazy to me that Yoda wasn't in the game. But now first trailer we saw Yoda's in it, Darth Maul, Rey. So it's really cool how they're gonna, because a lot of people wanted to see the stuff from the prequels, even though stories people may not have liked.
Right.
But as far as like the characters and whatnot, it'll be interesting to see in a setting of like classic characters versus new age characters. Like, what is that going to look like, you know, in a vast battlefield?
That's true. Yeah. And I mean, it's the only scenario when you can get that, right? You're never going to be able to have like Darth Maul versus Rey, because
unless you play the mobile game.
True.
Which,
well, they'll come out with Masters of Terrascasi 2, and then we'll get in one of those, and that'll be how we experience that crossover style.
Yeah. But other than that, lastly, at least for my desires for the multiplayer, is some more uniqueness to the weapon design, I guess.
Okay.
Because like, even though it's part of the Star Wars fiction to like have all the weapons be black and kind of look similar,
right?
As far as like a multiplayer experience, that's not too interesting, because they kind of boil down to every weapon just being a black barrel with a handle that shoots red lasers.
Right.
So
that's why I was like, before I was like, you know, you want to get some stuff that has explosions, you want something that has actual bullets. Like, you know, I guess in this world at this point, bullets are kind of obsolete. Like, it's this whole space thing. So, like, I guess what can you have other than lasers, right? Yeah. Like maybe like different colored lasers.
Colored lasers, maybe. I mean, it's up to them to be creative. You know, maybe a weapon that shoots like shockwave or the electricity. Remember the lightning rod?
Lightning gun type thing.
That'd be a cool weapon, but like maybe something that shoots that kind of lighting. I don't know.
Get a BFG in there. Yeah, just go
Throw
for it.
a BFG in there.
Let's go. Just go Quake style. Make it happen.
Maybe something, you know, that weapon from Turok 1, they shot like the mines, that the proximity mines or whatnot. Something like that.
Yeah.
I just
get the cerebral bore, but like full on
put it in Star Wars
style. It's a laser cerebral bore. Get some like big fuck off cannon that you can shoot off.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a 2-man gun. Something like that. That'd actually be cool for like a co-op style thing. It's like you and someone else kind of team up, and like if you can basically destroy anyone with it, but like you gotta have enough coordination to actually pull it off.
That's what I'm hoping for with the vehicles. Going back to that, like the ability to fly a ship and have someone as your gunner,
right?
It's so cool. Maybe driving some kind of vehicle and you have like 2 passengers and a gunner or something. Nothing was like that in the first game.
True.
I don't know. Here's to hoping with that.
Got me excited for it.
Yeah.
So, like, what other known quantities do you know about EA right now? We know about Need for Speed Payback, Paytime, Paydate.
I was gonna shoot one, but I had nothing.
It's all right. We riffed off. We got it. Made it happen.
Anything you want to see with? Do you play Need for Speed games a lot?
I used to be more into them, and then like I stopped. I still buy them, but I haven't been like as deep into them. I didn't play. What was the last one? Because that was all hell FMV one.
Was it just not Need for Speed?
Was it?
I think so.
It might have been because like it was like they went with this whole FMV style, thing, and I was interested in that because like FMV is always interesting to me. For either jokes or just like that style of like
Pepsi
because
Man?
it's a time it's a time period, right? Like I think about like the Sega CD and like those old cheesy ass FMV games, and you know at this point
they were
like,
supposed to
most of the things are that.
revolutionize gaming.
Exactly. Here it is. Now it's just a joke. But you know, this game is interesting to me because it's like they finally realize it's like, all right, so like what's like really popular with cars now? Well, it's cars adjacent, but like Fast and the Furious was at one point about cars. So like, why don't we make like a Fast and the Furious game? And it's like, yeah, you probably should make a Fast and the Furious game, Need for Speed, and that would be basically what I would want. Like, I don't know if you have like, you know, the Fast and the Furious movies like trade off of like the characters and their superhero comic book qualities. Like, you know, I don't know if they're gonna be able to build all of that up necessarily in one. Like, you know, like the Fast and Furious movies had their original style of being like
it evolved.
Exactly. Like, short of them bringing back, like, Razor Hallahan from, like, Need for Speed Most Wanted and being, like, all of a sudden now he's, like, big into family and, like, robbing shit. Like, it wouldn't.
Are they going to drop the family quote?
I think.
Need for Speed.
I feel like they're going to, but it's not going to have. It's going to come off as super cheesy. Like, I think that's going to be the problem, is that they're going to chase this Fast and Furious pipe dream, which is what they should do, but they're going to drop the ball because it's just that you have this buildup of something over such a long period of time that you're going to end up at the end of the day just being like, why didn't they just get in contact and just be like, why don't we just make Fast and Furious?
What was the DLC, the standalone, was it for Forza that they did the Fast and Furious DLC?
It was for Fast and Furious 5, I think? It might have been 6. It was a Forza Horizon 2. And there was like a standalone, like, just kind of thing. And that was like really smart. It was actually not bad. You know, Forza Horizon is like a pretty good game. I'm into it. But then it was basically just, you know, here's Forza and like we have 2 characters for the movie talking. You know, it was like a real short experience, but it was cool, you know. And it's a weird thing to me because, like, with the popularity of Fast and Furious, like, why hasn't anyone really made like a movie or like a game?
Right. When they announced that, I feel personally, I was just like, "Wow, about time." How long did this take already?
Right, you know,
was
like,
a main game made in this style?
Right, like, what happened? Like, why is it taking so long to do that? You know, and these movies did not like suddenly popular. They've been pretty big franchise for a while. So like, why is it that now like the 8th one's out and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, we should do that? I mean, again, like, I'm down for it, but like, it's gonna be something where either they're gonna pull it off, it's gonna be fantastic, or it's going to be, like, really cheesy and hopefully fantastic. But, like, it's going to...
That's maybe the best of both worlds.
Exactly. I just hope it isn't, like, somehow, like, really cheesy and it ends up being like, man, that's disappointing, you know?
Better off not being made.
When they showed off all of that Need for Speed stuff last time, it was kind of cool looking with the FMV, and you had the people that were, like, known in the racing world within like the drift community, and you had like all the different styles that they were, and they were like kind of people from those communities, and it was just like a cool concept in general, because like, well, you have FMV going a little bit more into the story stuff, and now it's like, well, that was really like they weren't able to pull that off. It was just really kind of, you know, cheesy and lame. So it kind of remains to be seen what it'll be for this one. And the big announcement that they had for that was that you can pause the game. So, you know, doesn't necessarily inspire me with confidence in terms of like announcements that you have. If you're going to be like, we're going into the Fast and Furious thing, but also you can pause your game. It's like, well, great.
That's funny.
Thanks, EA.
What I'm curious to see is if they'll bring anything over from some of the previous games. Like, I think the last one I played was Hot Pursuit or Most Wanted, the one that launched on the new generation.
I think that was Hot Pursuit.
All right, with the cops and
that should be Hot Pursuit, but the problem is at this point, and this is what kind of like confuses me at this point, and I'm like so lost on the Need for Speeds. They've reused the names twice. And like they reuse
ideas, and then there's definitely overlap between games.
Exactly. So like we could say Hot Pursuit, but like they've used the cop stuff like at this point like 4 different times. It's like such a big part of the game now, especially that they're open world. So it's like the cop part is so huge. So it's kind of
that's what I'm curious to see if they inject any of that into this Need for Speed game or Fast and Furious game, because I could see some interesting things being done with, like, maybe you gotta pull off a heist, and then you gotta, like, maybe you're a rivalry gang, or maybe you're the law, and then you gotta, you know, chase them through a series of objectives. Whereas Most Wanted or Hot Pursuit, whatever it was, you know, it's just get away from the cops.
Right.
And some of the abilities that you can use, like the spikes and the helicopters, that would be cool to use. Again, maybe if they take those ideas further and flesh them out.
Well, ideally, and like, you know, it depends on how they do it, right? Because the whole like first Fast and Furious movies was basically Point Break, and it was a cop that was infiltrating, like, you know, the whole racer scene and stuff. They can just as easily emulate that. And I can imagine them interweaving a story where you're being like a racer and like some criminal, like they're into stealing and whatever heists, the stuff that they're doing. And also, you're playing as the cop aspect, maybe someone who is like infiltrated as a mole or something along those lines, and you're kind of going back and forth with that. Like, there's certainly a lot of interesting avenues they can take it to, for sure. Yeah. You know, that's what kind of the Fast and Furious movies at this point have kind of traded on, is starting off with that and getting you into these characters and building that relationship between it, so that you have these characters that are kind of memorable.
Yeah,
but
giving you something to care about.
Exactly. I just don't know if they're gonna try to like fit all of that into one thing and have it be too much.
They gotta make it into a nice, concise package.
Yeah.
Especially, when was the last Need for Speed game you saw? It was 2 years ago?
I think so. It was either 2 or 3. I want to say 2.
2? Yeah. You think we'll see anything else from Need for Speed that you wanna?
I mean, I would like to see like some extended play of it and see what's kind of going on with that.
Yeah, just jump into a demo. I don't need to see a CG trailer or just a 1-minute trailer.
Nah.
If you're gonna, just have a few minutes at least of them just hopping straight into
what is it you think I need to see? Show me some of the story stuff, whatever. Right. Like, sell me on it.
Sell us on the vibes.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, that alone I think would go a long way, and I'd be kind of hyped for that.
Yeah.
Other than that, from EA, like, what are the known quantities that we know about?
Mass Effect.
Nah.
As far as known quantities,
any
downloadable games, maybe. Maybe some new games. I could see a new downloadable game, a digital only game.
I could see something like that. Like, what do you have in mind? Like a
well, because they had the developer who made Unravel. That was like. Was that also 2 years ago?
I think so.
So maybe they've been working on something. I don't know.
But is there anything that we know they're going to have? Like, because right now we know for sure they're going to have Battlefront and Need for Speed.
Yeah, Star Wars. Yeah, Battlefront.
But is there anything else that we kind of know for sure they're going to
have? Bless you.
Excuse me. Thank you.
Nah. As far as I'm aware now.
All right, so let's jump into the speculation. So, like, we would like to see some sort of, like, online or, like, mobile or, like, independent type game. Downloadable. That would be pretty cool. But
I want to see something from Plants vs. Zombies, Garden Warfare. Even though I don't think so.
Would it be Garden Warfare 3 at this point?
I don't know if I don't know if I would want a 3. Just maybe something, an expansion to 2 of some sort.
Okay.
3 I would wait off a bit because 2 built on a lot of what the first game offered, and it was a great package. But I feel like it's not really in the zeitgeist.
Right.
Even though people like respect it for what it does, and like those who have played it enjoyed like what it offers. But again, I think they give it like maybe a few years off and then come back with a third game.
Okay.
Then,
What about like not like a Garden Warfare style, but like a Plants vs. Zombies, like an actual like
that'd be cool for
return
the
to that form, right?
Yeah, that would be cool.
Because I haven't done one of those since like they came out with 2, which is like a weird free to play style thing, right? I think that came out and it kind of just went. Like I don't remember a lot of people being. It
was a hit or miss with people.
Yeah. I would want to see, and this is like a thing, like, obviously you usually have like the EA Sports segment. I'm a little interested in seeing that because this year especially, it's going to be the time with the Switch, and I generally like to get like one sports game at least for like each system, and then kind of like that one sticks with me, and I have EA access.
Sports game per system? You mean?
You generally at this point I have EA access, so I have all of the like Maddens on there just because they throw them up into the vault.
Maddens,
so I have them.
For days.
All the Maddens, man. Give me Madden 17, Madden 18. I got 25. I'm already on there. They're going to come out with 18. I'm 7 years ahead, man. What are you doing?
It's crazy.
Come on. But I'm interested in seeing, like, and this is a thing that I kind of doubt is going to happen, but I'm kind of hoping that they show off what they got going on for, like, the Switch version of, like, FIFA 18. Because, they've come out and they showed like that it's going to be a legacy version, so it's not in the Frostbite engine,
right?
And it's going to have some stuff that's missing, which is disappointing to me. But I would like to see like a feature set and like what it is that they're going to bring to this that's going to be kind of
unique to the platform.
Exactly, because that's when this stuff kind of gets more interesting to me in terms of like the actual. If you're just going to come up with a soccer game, that's whatever. But if you're going to have one that's like a portable soccer game and has some kind of features that maybe uses the unique qualities of the system, that would be kind of a intrigue to me to actually want to buy, right? As a person,
because you have the other system, people like us, we have other options to play the better looking one,
right?
On paper, what should be the better one, quote.
Right? And especially as a person who's usually more into like the arcade style of like sport game.
NHL Hits, NFL Blitz, NBA Street,
NBA Jam, son.
NBA Jam.
Give me that jam. That would be also as like a sidestep if they just came out and they're like, "Hey man, here's NBA Jam."
Although the new NBA Live, is it? What is that new arcade game that's like NBA Jam?
Playground? NBA Playground?
Yeah.
It's kind of...
Who's that from?
Not EA. It's some separate company. I'm not sure of the name. Is it Blitz Corp?
Well, it's not EA, though.
Yeah, it's not EA. They do have, I believe they still have the NBA Jam license because they came out with the one for the Xbox 360 and the Xbox Live Arcade, the On Fire edition. So I would love it if they would just like, hey, let's actually use that license and just come out with new versions of that. Because I actually thought that NBA Jam, both the original and the On Fire edition, were really good.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were as good as the originals, but they were good. I liked them well enough. I played them pretty frequently.
Yeah.
So I would be excited to see like some sort of return to form to that arcade style. Yeah. And then if you could tell me too that if you give me that ability to have that on the Switch, so I can have something on the go and I could just bust out with a friend. That is definitely
a perfect game for the Switch.
I'd be super down. Yeah. That was hoping for with NBA Playgrounds, and it ended up just kind of being slow. I like
some of the ideas that it was doing with the power ups and
some of them are so weird though, man.
Background.
Like why the fuck would you make it so that you can get like 4 points or like 10 points or whatever? Like it's such a weird thing to fuck with is the point system. Like even NBA Jam never went that far. Like there's certain like things and quantities that make basketball that you don't really mess with.
Yeah.
And I think the style too of like needing to unlock characters, so you start off with kind of like this weird roster that's like anemic is like such a weird choice. And then making it so that you can't actually tell if you're doing it right in terms of like letting go of the ball or dunking or anything like that. Like it all feels off.
Well, they got to get those loot boxes, man. You got to get that microtransaction. Although, personally, I'm fine with unlocking characters, and even the changes to the scoring system is a little. I'm a little hesitant about, but I can see it. But as long as the thing that is lacking though is a proper. Like you were saying, with letting the user know more information of like what they're doing wrong, or even a tutorial system,
right,
or anything like that.
I mean, I would probably be fine with unlocking characters too if you at least gave me more initially, or you gave me like it was such a weird thing because like I'm again casual NBA fan, like I'm more into like the arcade style stuff. Yeah. And you give me like these packs, and all of a sudden, it's like I don't know who half these people are. So like it doesn't mean anything to me. It's like whereas you can give me like Jam, it's like I know Ewing, I know Pippen, like I know because that's when I was more into that stuff. So like I know who those people are. But then you give me like people who's like I'm not into basketball like this. So but maybe to someone else who is watching it, it doesn't matter because
like, why would I care about Dwight Howard?
It's like who's this guy? Kobe Bryant? Oh, fuck him. I don't fuck shit about that
Michael
guy.
Jordan.
What?
Let's go.
But like that's kind of where it was at for me. Like someone else might be able to see it and be like, "Oh, perfect." But like for me, I'm like, I don't know who half these people are.
Yeah.
Also, it was like the representation was weird because sometimes you get into like certain teams would have more people, certain teams wouldn't, which makes some sense, I guess, because they're more popular. But still, but I would love to see some sort of like arcade revival
of Jam.
Yeah. Or just like the sports series, like EA Sports Arcade, go for it and like come out with Blitz and Hits and Jam, and just do all that stuff again. Even if they were like, let's say they don't have enough belief in those games and like their selling power, come up with some. Here's a pipe dream. Here's like compilation. It's like the EA Sports Arcade Edition, man. And it's like you get that EA Arcade Sports Collection, $50. You get Jam, Hits, Blitz, just all on one thing.
When you were done, I was gonna say I don't know if there's really anything they can do as far as on the sports front for me, but I would get that.
That'd be cool as hell.
Bringing back Hits. You remember Hits was dope. You can use a shark. My team consists of weird characters. My favorite character though is the big shark head. But yeah, a collection like that would be cool.
Honestly, at that point.
But as far as like the Sims, they don't do much for me. So I don't know if there's anything they can convince me on.
I mean, if they were to put in the sim style games, if they were to be like, hey man, it's not quite Blitz, but like here's like turning off the rule set, that sort of thing, that would be okay. It wouldn't quite be the same, but like it's just, to me, like I enjoyed that more than like having to know the rules of the game necessarily. Exactly.
Or everything is just sim. They got to bring the arcades back. The arcade games.
You know how it is. Anything else you want to see from EA?
Nothing that's really screaming out at me now.
All right. So that's going to be for the first part of Saturday. And then following that, we're going to have Microsoft. Microsoft coming out. So what do we know Microsoft is going to have?
They've announced Sea of Thieves, Crackdown. They've said no Halo 6 this year. So, and no Gears. So they said they have a little Halo announcement, which I'm thinking is probably going to be a
Spartan style thing, Spartan Wars.
Nah, I'm thinking it's going to be maybe a DLC expansion, some kind of DLC for Halo Wars 2. And because they've already released a couple characters.
True.
Or maybe some because Halo 5, I know they're working on a Halo 3 classic playlist. So maybe they'll do like some trailer to promote that, because I know Halo 5 for the first year they did regular trailers and content releases.
So what if they weren't doing Halo 6, but they were doing like a Halo 5 story expansion DLC?
I'm fine with that. Like if they were, what I would really like is if they separate the pipelines for the campaign, the stories, and the multiplayer. I feel like Halo 5's multiplayer is some of the best gameplay that I've seen, that I've experienced in the series. And I've been playing since 2001. This is one of my favorite franchises. Right. So I can go in depth with that, but for the sake of conversation and time, why not?
I mean, hey, get in there.
What I want to see from Halo 5, if there is going to be anything, is, like you said, that would be cool if they have some kind of expansion. Although, personally, after the way the story went in Halo 5, not a fan at all. So, and which is, to go into that for 1 second.
Do it. Boy, you about to do it.
Halo 5 story is whack in the sense that it doesn't continue some of the stuff. Like, there were some good things that were built up in 4, but some of that was resolved in comics. And I hate when games do that.
I hate that shit.
And Halo 5, I feel like normally, like, I hate when companies do that. But Halo 6, if they were to do that with where Halo 5 story was going, and they finish it off in a comic and completely fresh with Halo 6, like a new arc or something, not even a new arc, just its own contained story, I'd much prefer that than continuing anything of what was going on with Halo 5.
True.
But as far as going back to the E3 thing, with the Halo 3 Classic playlist, I would like to see, because I know the maps are going to be remade 1-to-1, and they're going to remove the Spartan abilities that they've added with Halo 5, like ground pound and sprint and whatnot. Okay. So it's going to feel as close as possible to Halo 3, even though like the intricacies of the design of Halo 3 is going to be way different, because that was more projectile-based weapons, traveling like real-time, the bullets. Whereas Halo 5, most weapons were hit scan, which is, it's just hit scan weapons is just better for online multiplayer games in general. But so the Halo 3 Classic playlist is going to be not true as much as it can be. But again, to wrap that up, I'm still interested to see what they do with it. But I'm sure they're not going to, or at least if what they said is true, I'm not expecting a lot of Halo information at this E3.
I feel like that's that's the best way to go into it. Right. But like if I were to try to like hype up Halo, I would go into be like, yeah, we'll have like a little Halo thing, and then that's when you'd be like, oh, here's a Halo story announcement. So I mean,
the franchise director Frank O'Connor, he has said before, like before Halo 2 Anniversary was a thing in the Master Chief Collection, he denied it. Didn't exist. Same thing with Halo 1 Anniversary. And a lot of people really wanted Halo 3 Anniversary because it's the 10-year. But I mean, that game has been improved a lot with Master Chief Collection. 1080p, 60 frames. Other than like maybe giving the cutscenes to blur, so they can make do what they did with Halo 1 and Halo 2. I'm fine with not getting a Halo 3 Anniversary right now.
Yeah, it's also in a position to with straight up, like, I mean, that was a 360 game, so it wasn't it was an early 360 game, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily as ugly.
It still holds up.
As, you know, like Halo 1 was, at this point, 3 generations ago? So, like, you know.
Yeah, and it wasn't, Halo 1 and Halo 2 didn't make the HD generation.
Exactly.
So the remakes, you know, were warranted,
They made more sense to have,
Yeah, they
you
made
know.
more sense.
But, like, you know, I can see it going in there. Obviously, there's improvement that could be made.
Yeah. And so many fans, just as a note, so many fans were wanting and begging for Halo 3 Anniversary so much that the community manager was like, "Oh my!" He literally said, "Oh my God, stop!
Yeah,
Halo 3 Anniversary is not coming. Please stop it." But
shit,
you know how rabidous these fan bases can get when they want their what they want and when they want it. So.
Oh, I hear that.
So yeah, what you were saying, what you want to see.
Well, I mean, even with the known stuff too, like, you know, like I mean, I definitely want to see Crackdown because I haven't heard anything about that in 3 years, 4 years at this point. Feels like
2.
forever since we've heard about
Last
Crackdown.
we've even heard anything on it because it was showcased 3 years ago, I believe, or no, was it 2015 or 14?
I want to say it was 14.
14 might have been the. Well, I know they had the orb. They had like a little picture of an orb, and I think the May reveal of the Xbox One. Mm-hmm. But as far as its official.
Because I remember, like, the only thing I remember is like that big one where they had the big reveal and they were talking about all the cloud computing stuff and all of that stuff. And then at that point, like, it just kind of dropped off and I hadn't heard like word one since at that point.
Which I'm glad for, but it's definitely it's time.
Exactly, you know, like
they've confirmed though. The Crackdown team has confirmed that they're gonna have a big blowout.
So I would hope so because it has to be coming out this year. Like so like this is the big thing. Like we've talked about the software, we jumped right into it, but obviously. Scorpio is supposed to come out this year, right? Mm-hmm. And that's going to be the big blowout that they're going to absolutely do. Microsoft is like they've come out and they've already started showing off some Scorpio like hardware stuff.
Yeah.
You know, they did the thing with Digital Foundry and like they've shown like the CPU. There was a picture of it and they had and all that stuff. So I have to imagine they could come out with like the actual official name, release date, price, all that stuff.
You thought of any names? I'm thinking maybe Xbox One Plus.
Xbox 2?
Nah. You think they'll drop the 1? Because I figure it's gonna be in the same family.
If I'm being real, what they should do is just call it Xbox. And because especially with what Microsoft is trying to do in terms of unification and having like the PC and like, you know, just like whatever it is, like you can have the Xbox One, you can have the PC, and you can play the games on it and the Scorpio.
No, I would like that too.
Just this is the Xbox, and all things that are coming out in the future are going to be Xbox. You can get stuff like this, and then you can play it on the PC on your Xbox One, and then eventually they phase out the Xbox One, and then it's just PC and Xbox. And when you're playing games on the PC, you're going to be playing them through the Xbox Store, or you're going to be playing them on the Xbox service, or whatever it is. So like it's like I think they just call their games division and all things related to games Xbox.
I do like that. You know, similar to like how that iPad handled it.
Right.
But the only issue I see is what do you do with the S? Because it's going to come a point where there's going to be a new iteration of the Xbox.
Right.
So does the Scorpio, which is called the Xbox, does that become the Xbox One S again? Or does it...
I think you just straight up steal the
there.
iPhone model, and that's when you do. So like when you do
Generation or something?
you do the Xbox 7. So like with the iPhone, let's say they have the iPhone 7, and then they came out with the iPhone 7s.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna come out with the iPhone 8. So I think that's the way you kind of do it. Is it's like it's still technically the iPhone, and this is the 7th iPhone, so it's the iPhone 7, and then it's the S version because it's one that came out in the off year. So if they're going to keep doing that style thing with the S, then I think like they keep it right now with the Xbox One, the Xbox One S, and then they come out with the Xbox, and then next year they come out with the Xbox S, and then by the time that's come out and they come out with the next one, the Xbox One, the Xbox One S are kind of phased out because they're not powerful enough to support any of the stuff that you'd be making at that point.
So then what would you call it after the Xbox S comes out?
They would just call it Xbox.
Just still again?
Just Xbox, yeah. I think you'd go for it. Like with the iPad, like you kind of mentioned before, they started with the iPad, then iPad 2, then it was the new iPad, and then it was like the iPad Air or whatever. Like, I don't even remember at this point what they've done with the iPad. But at this point, when they come out with a new iPad, it's just here's the new iPad.
But the next iPhone is gonna be 8.
Right.
So would it be that's like the only complication?
I suppose, but I mean, it depends on the direction you want to go, I guess, right? Is like, because I mean, it technically is the 8 because they're differentiating between that. for the phones, I guess. But like when you think about something like the iPads, they just like, no, it's just iPad. So like the phone, they need to kind of differentiate it between like the actual versions.
Yeah.
And with the actual like
I can
hardware and
imagine that
stuff
being a
you can
nightmare in
use.
retail though.
Yeah. And plus like the backlash they get if they go from the Xbox One to all of a sudden now just the Xbox.
Yeah. I do like it though. I like it a lot.
It just makes sense. It's just cleaner. Like I feel like, especially going forward, like even Sony, like, you know, not to jump ahead for anything like that, but like, you know, if they're going to keep doing these reiterations, it's just then just name yourself the platform. Don't be like PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 6 or whatever. Just do PlayStation. But like, you know, like if we're going to make a comparison eventually, like they have to come out with a PlayStation 5, right? And that might be something they do. So like maybe they do it where it's like, okay, like maybe they do, like you had mentioned, the Xbox 2. And then like they do the 3 and the 4. And so it's like the 2S, and they could go with that to totally emulate the iPhone style. Yeah. They could go either way. It's just that at that point though, like, you know, people are gonna end up making the Xbox 2 jokes, but I don't think they would care that much about that. It's cleaner. Yeah. Get it out of the way, rip the Band-Aid off, make people make their jokes, and just go for it.
I would say the Xbox One Elite, but they already have that bundle going on,
right?
With the one, with some one bundle or whatever. And I mean, it would make sense because of the Elite controller, but it's already being used.
It's all a marketing nightmare, though. Like
it
you
really
said,
is.
You know, and like it's a consumer nightmare too, because at that point too, like how the fuck do you know what you want to get, right?
Yeah, right.
It's all like a shitty situation due to the fact that like hardware coming out when it shouldn't be, trying to reiterate on shit to.
Oh, you're not a fan of the right.
Doesn't do anything for me. This whole S stuff. It's like a half step for the Pro and like all that. Not for me. Sure. But like I guess it's gonna be a matter of like, so what is it that we're gonna see for it? Like, do you think they're gonna have exclusive games?
No, they've said as much as that they're not planning to. I mean, who knows if things will change down the line? Mm-hmm. But right now, no. Everything will be forward compatible and backwards compatible.
Right. So basically, like, kind of the exact way the PS Pro is. So you'll have some basic features, like I imagine Crackdown will be showcased on it, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. Just, you know, more powerful, whatnot.
Yeah, I'm up in the air on this whole Scorpio thing. Like, I just, you know, upgraded my computer, and I feel like I'm hoping that it's going to be... I like the idea of it. Like, I think it's a smart thing Microsoft is doing, where it's like unifying these three fronts, and just making it so you get one, and it's like you can play it on all three. Mm-hmm. And I feel like at this point, I would be invested into it to just be like, I would get all of my games on the PC, and then that would be it, and I wouldn't need to get a Scorpio. I'd be totally fine with that. Like, that's I think the
and
thing
that's
they really
not
need
a bad
to
thing
lean
either,
into.
because especially now they're having more of Play Anywhere titles.
Right.
You buy it once, you can play it on PC or your Xbox. And then there's also a lot of cross-platform experiments being tested in a lot of the first-party games, like Gears. Halo doesn't have it currently, but future Halos might.
Yeah, I mean, all you'd have to do is like, for something like Halo, it's like you'd have like, all right, so maybe there's like a lobby for people who are playing with mouse and keyboard, and then you make one with like controller. As long as we be able to play, theoretically, like me on a computer and you on the Xbox Scorpio, whatever. Yeah, I'd be fine with that. Like, that's all we need. Like, I think it's just such a smart thing, and I want to see them lean into it. I want to see them talk about that more. I want to see like what their plans are with that, and how the Scorpio kind of fits into that ecosystem.
Before we go back to talking about games you want to see, as far as the conference, personally, I'd rather they keep the talking to a minimum, right? Like a very minimum. And then as far as like they need to show why people need to buy, not want to. They don't want. They need people to buy their brand, whether it's a Scorpio, whether it's an S or a regular Xbox. They want people to be in their ecosystem. Right. So they need to just come out swinging for the fences. They got to have something ready for people who are just not invested at all. Because if you're not invested at this point, then
how are you gonna be, right?
Well, they got to do things right now to really catch up to Sony. If that's because they're not. It's not like they're failing or anything. Mm-hmm. But they're being outsold more than 2-1 at this point.
Yeah, about.
Yeah, so I don't know. So what games are you most looking forward to, or that you want to see? That's
announced so far. I mean, I would say for that, I'm like you mentioned before, Sea of Thieves. I want to know what that is.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like a little bit with that. I want to see if that's something that's going to actually come out this year. I'm hoping it isn't like I thought the last year's showing of Sea of Thieves was kind of weak. We had the two people kind of playing the game.
They had a group of 4. You talk about the group of 4 Let's Play they did?
Yeah, and it was like this weird sort of situation with like what was it, like they were like, oh, like they're playing and they're having fun, but like it's not telling me anything about what the game is, and like I don't know anything of what they're actually doing.
Yeah, you want to know what the context in the game is.
Yeah, like
why are we playing it? Because right now it just seems a very mechanics based, just go and like role playing kind of kind of game you would go for.
It's like, oh, you can fuck around in the ship. I'm like, cool, but like
it looks cool and fun, and it looks like it could be a blast to play with friends, but you know, why am I doing these things? What's going to get me invested?
Exactly.
Playing for more than just 10 hours out. You want to play for like hundreds of hours.
Right.
That's that kind of time.
I'm also thinking like, is that all Rare is doing? Like, are they full on focused on this one thing? Or do you think they're doing something else?
I mean, I've brought it up before, and it's been years since they've said anything other than Sea of Thieves. But they've shown in like behind the scenes videos of like what Rare's up to lately or whatever. They have different like a few buildings or whatnot, where they're located, and they're working on other things, but to what extent we don't know.
Right.
So like, if going along with what you're saying, is Sea of Thieves really the only thing they're working on? And if not, are we going to even get maybe a tease of something else they're working on?
Right.
But then you have to question if that tease is maybe going to take some attention away from Sea of Thieves, which I don't necessarily think it might.
Yeah.
But a tease would be good too, for the fact that it could show, okay, Rare, they're a studio, they're big enough to handle more than just this one IP that we've been seeing for the past couple of years, and just instill that confidence that Rare is a healthy studio.
Absolutely, which they need, I feel.
Yeah.
Because what's the last thing they've really come out with? Rare Replay?
Yeah.
You know? And they've kind of been like a little dead this gen. They haven't really done too much. And like, even when you think about what they've done last, it's like they were working on that Kinect stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Even though their Kinect sports titles sold, I think, over 1 million.
Yeah.
1 and 2, but
I mean, the best thing on the Kinect,
Kinect
outside like Dance Central and stuff,
is dead right now. So.
Yeah, super done. So like that's also kind of a thing where it's like, obviously if Rare's doing other stuff, hopefully those teams that were working on like Kinect games are doing something that would be a little bit more, you know, separate from that, outside of like downloadable
Banjo's
things.
Dance Party.
Shit, I'm in.
Let's revive the Kinect.
Let's go.
Bring it back.
Scorpio comes with a Kinect built in.
The Kinect camera, it reads your environment and hides jiggies, and you got to find it.
Oh shit! Get all 200 of them. You got to collect them all within your one room that you're in.
Although that would actually be cool for augmented reality for the HoloLens. That'd be cool. Like what they showed, that horrible model of Conquer that they put out there. But that, you know, just that concept of the HoloLens and, you know, looking in your.
I mean, if you had a platformer that was going on in your room, I think that could be super dope.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially if like the collision was good and all that stuff. Like it wasn't like, oh man, I'm trying to jump on this foot stand and all of a sudden like characters falling over and climbing. But like if you could turn your room that you're in, that you play your games in, into like an actual world, I think that would be dope. It's Level Lord come to life in fruition. No, that would be super great. I'd be down for that. That would be like the dream for AR. But at the same time too, I have to imagine that'd be so hard to do.
Yeah.
It would be cool though.
And plus, that's not what they really, quote, need to do.
Right. It would be like a cool thing.
Want to see out of Rare.
Because think about what like Banjo would be like. How interesting is all of your rooms going to be, right? Like,
if they bring Banjo back in any form, we got to see it right.
Yeah, you know.
Otherwise, you know, save him for like a cart game or something.
I mean, hey, he was in Sonic and all Stars, right? Hey,
that was a good game.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
I'd be down for like a Banjo, man. Yeah. It's like, fuck it, let's go. Like you had Ukulele came out and kind of went.
Platonic needs to, after Ukulele, bless you.
Thank you.
Take a step back and because they I don't know if the patch just came out, if they announced that
they announced it, but it's not out yet.
Okay.
And they also showed the Switch version that's gonna have the patch in because that hasn't come out yet.
So they need to like take a step back, you know, consider all the criticism they've received over, because there's definitely love there for Ukulele, but it's not like the passion that people had as soon as they played the first Banjo-Kazooie game.
Right.
So I'm sure they'll learn a lot of lessons off of that game, and then I think it would be cool if Microsoft tried to get them to work on the next Banjo game, and
That'd be like a
surprise
great
next
thing.
year or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'd be super down for something like that.
Yeah.
But definitely more banjo. Even like straight up, hey man, this is gonna be like blasphemous for like certain banjo fans.
Nuts and bolts.
Nuts
right?
and bolts too, man.
you're
Let's
a fan.
go.
I was a fan
Let's
too. It's a
fucking
really
go.
good game.
It was a great game.
I don't want
Love
it.
that
I
game.
don't. I wanted to, but I don't need it to right now. I
Yeah.
need.
I need Banjo 3. Yeah. I'm
Nuts
feeling
and bolts
that.
was really fun.
Yeah.
Really fun game.
I'd be super into that, man.
Although
No
maybe
complaints
if
from
they incorporate more because the controlling banjo and nuts and bolts was okay, but he didn't really have a lot. He didn't have any moves, you know.
Right.
But maybe if they incorporate more platforming with Banjo himself, and then like maybe the vehicle parts is an extension to that. I don't know. There's the creativity.
Something they could do there for sure.
Yeah.
You know. Outside of that, like, what is it that we know they're gonna have?
Cuphead. People keep mentioning Below, but the developers already said that's pretty much dead for now because they're working on. I forgot what else they're working on, but they're working on something else. So Below's gone. So definitely, I personally I loved Cuphead's art style. So I'm curious to see what the extra time was put towards. It seems like maybe they're making
that single player
campaign.
right? But that's the thing. Like, Cuphead is weird because when they first came out with it and they showed it, it was like all super exciting.
And
then
then the boss rush mode.
Exactly, it came out that that's what it was, and I was like, they've delayed it so heavily to come out with a single player experience, and you're kind of left with this situation where you're like, so what the hell is this game now? And also, like, fucking, we haven't seen it in like how many years?
Yeah,
you know, I feel like when it comes out, it's gonna be like a disappointing game because it has a lot to live up to that it's not going to, you know.
I think it'll have good aspects to it, but if the platforming is as what we saw, what they've teased before, like I forgot how long ago it was, but they showed some of the platforming, what they're doing with it.
Yeah,
it looked very basic. So I'd rather they have just dove straight fully into the boss rush or whatever their original vision was going for.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm hopeful if they flesh it out properly. Then
I hope so. It's just it's been so long.
Yeah,
you know, like who the hell knows at this point?
You see, that's the thing with announcing games so far off is that they fall to the back burner, and you know the hype for them dies down over a couple years that they haven't shown.
Yeah.
But though on the flip side to that, even though they were shown too early, I'm glad that they haven't shown them too much. Which is, I guess, a little counter. That makes it a little bit better, you know.
A little bit, but then it's kind of like they got what they needed, which was the hype at the time when they came out.
They totally misjudged that, though. For sure.
Like, you know, you come out with it, and that's why you do these things, to be like, yeah, look at all this slate of games that we have that are coming out. And then it's like, you know, but like we know it's not coming out anytime soon. But like you don't know that. But like we're hyping you up on this thing.
I mean, not to draw a comparison, but the Year of Dreams, 2015 for Sony. Death Stranding, Final Fantasy, Last of Us. We're not seeing these games for fucking...
You know, even like when you think about it, and like we'll talk about it when we get into Sony, but like they've come out and said like half those games aren't going to be there. Yeah. You know? Like, you know, like it's a discussion that I definitely want to have, I think, once we get into Sony's position, because we kind of know even what they're going to have. Yeah. But, you know, we'll backburner that for a second before we get into that.
Anything else from Microsoft? Well, I was going to say, after Below, I want to see, because there's rumors right now of Ori 2. And I love, that's one of my favorite Metroid style games.
True.
And the developers, he's on Gaff and he teased it as much. Mm-hmm. And I think we'll see Ori 2 at the conference. I'm expecting for my hairs to stand up because I love that game. I love the art style. I love the music. Mm-hmm. The atmosphere is great. I love it all. But yeah, other than that.
I want something to really get me excited for, like, the Xbox brand, Microsoft. Like, I want something that kind of, because, like, if I'm being honest, like, there's nothing that, like, I play most of my games either on the PC or the PS4, you know, and then, like, I have the Nintendo games and the Switch exclusives and stuff like that. Like, I'm kind of good with those, but my Xbox One right now is totally neglected. Like, I really don't do much of anything on it, and I would like it if there was something that, like, was an exclusive that they came out with and they show that was something that was like, yeah, absolutely, I really want to play that. Like, I'm not against, like, a new IP. Like, it's cool to have all these games that, like, we know are known quantities are going to be there. But I'm excited and interested in finding out, like, what are the things that they're going to put in there to re-energize their brand, to kind of get people more interested back into it. And that might be new IPs, it might be new third-party collaboration styles or things, but, like, I want to see what they're going to have in store this year that's going to come out. That's going to be something that makes me want to turn my Xbox on to download this game. Whereas
So-
right now it's been kind of off for a little bit. Hasn't really been getting much use.
So you want to use your Xbox console more, or is it just you want to use
Even straight up just on my computer. If it's something that
So
it's
it's more
something
just
that makes me
along
do
of
that.
software that you're hoping to see more.
I'm hoping some good software
Xbox.
that gets me to do something on the Xbox or Microsoft
Their
style ecosystem. Because right now I'm totally removed from it, which is the polar opposite from last generation where I was totally into the 360 one.
Yeah.
And now at this point, like I'm just not involved in it at all. So like, I don't really know what they can do necessarily to get me back in, but that's what I'm excited to see.
So if they announce Banjo 3 and it's console exclusive, it's not going to be on PC, would that bother you? Or?
It would bother me because they are going forward with that whole Play Anywhere thing, and I
So
think
it's definitely
that's
mostly
critical.
just a software.
Yeah.
Unless there's like a service. Because is EA Access, are there any games?
So EA Access is weird because there is also a PC EA Access, but you don't get it unless like you have to pay separately for it.
Oh, wow.
So, and I think they have different stuff. Like there might be more stuff obviously on the PC because the PC has, wider library and more opportunities for things and so on and so forth. But, you don't get to just like paying EA Access doesn't get you one. So you have to have EA and then like Origin Access or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird, but, is what that is. But like, anything that makes me just kind of like do something with Sony stuff, because right now I'm totally removed from it. I want to see a first party thing.
Microsoft.
Yeah, Microsoft. Any Xbox stuff, anything to get me involved with that, you're right.
As far as known quantities, they haven't, at least right now, it doesn't seem like anything's really leaked, right?
Right. Not that I've seen. Outside of the stuff that they've come out and shown. Obviously, it's going to be a big Scorpio show, and that's exciting. Hardware's always exciting, like it's always exciting to see what that's going to be. But like I said, like, with the whole Play Anywhere thing and me having a new computer and a strong one, like me personally, like they have to do something spectacular, I think, to make me want to buy a Scorpio as opposed to just like do the Play Anywhere. A valid point would be that all of the Play Anywhere stuff some of the Play Anywhere stuff has been hit or miss. Some of the PC versions have been kind of shitty.
Okay.
Like, what was it? Quantum Break. That didn't really run well on the computer. So it is possible that maybe these games come out and like they just don't really run well on the computer. And maybe that would be something that makes it that you would want to get it on the Scorpio or something like that. Might be one reason to get it. But at the same time too, like, I'm hoping that's more the exception than the rule.
Definitely.
Like, if you're going to have this whole Play Anywhere thing and that's your whole kind of, like, ethos going forward of what your company is going to be about, you would want it to be that the PC games aren't trash, right?
Yeah.
That's what I expect, at least. But yeah, like,
Other than that, I mean, going in open-minded, hoping for the best, right?
For sure.
Yeah, as fans. So, I guess for me, the last thing I just want to note is Crackdown 3.
Right.
And I'm glad it's going to be a big blowout, and I hope we see a lot of it, because I feel this game has so much potential as an exclusive for Microsoft.
Right.
It would be ludicrous to say that it has potential on GTA Online to sell anywhere close to that. But I'm talking talking in terms of like gameplay and online design.
Mm-hmm.
I could see Crackdown really surprising a lot of people if they have if they really like with the online philosophies that GTA set a couple years ago with 5, and with the level of like the world interaction that they had with Crackdown 1 and 2,
Right.
just like that open nature to the sandbox, blowing all kinds of vehicles, causing a lot of mayhem. I liked climbing buildings and upgrading characters and whatnot. If they really flesh all that stuff out while adopting ideas that, again, were set with GTA Online, I could see this game living on for years. I mean, I hope so, because if it's very basic, like Crackdown 2 came out a year and a half after the first one. It felt like a very rushed game, and it was just like...
I didn't like Crackdown 2. I really liked Crackdown 1, and then Crackdown 2 did nothing for me. I hated the zombies. I thought they were really lame. Like, I thought that all that stuff was just poorly done. So, like...
I liked... Well, sorry, go ahead.
I mean, like, I'm interested in seeing what 3 does to either, like, reboot, or, like, does it build off that? Is it just gonna be, like, are they gonna come out and be like, this is just Crackdown?
Yeah.
And they're gonna kind of go for that again. Like I feel like that's a good way to go. But that's like, you're right. Like, I feel like I'm with you on like kind of being excited for what they could do with like now what the sensibilities of like
where the gaming industry is now with
Right.
online multiplayer and what they could do combining with what they did previously. Because like even with Crackdown 2, it does have its flaws, but there's definitely some takeaways from that game that were interesting.
right.
Like the gliding suit, that was pretty cool. The helicopter was a new element to the game. They had like team deathmatch, which wasn't in the first game. The first game was only co-op. Having more people online. Just like there were some things that were cool with 2, but again, now that they're promoting this like destructible environment with Crackdown 3, and that's just for the multiplayer because apparently the single player and possibly co-op is just going to be non-destructible worlds, which is cool because you would imagine that stuff messes up the mission design and
True. Yeah.
and whatnot.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but
At the same time, too, like, you know, because I imagine, like, what I'm thinking they're going to do with Crackdown is they have to tie that into all the Scorpio stuff. So you're going to want to really show how powerful your system is, you know, and you're going to have some way in which this could accommodate for that. That would be a really excellent way to show it, right?
see, for me personally, the Scorpio, right now, I'm not like foaming at the mouth for it.
Yeah.
Again, I'm keeping open mind going into it, but it's gonna have to sell me on something significant in what I find significant. Like for example, if on Scorpio, Crackdown 3 is substantially better than the regular Xbox One version,
Yeah.
that would almost be enough. But I'm like something like frame rate. Like if a game is 30 frames per second, but 60 frames per second,
Right.
the frame rate, on the discussion of frame rate, like that's something I hold a lot of weight in. So if I could play games at 60 on the Scorpio, that would be enough to justify it. But if it's just like 4K resolution or like minimal upgrades, I'm not going to jump out day one probably to get it. But I don't know. We'll see.
That's reasonable.
Yeah.
All right. So then after Microsoft, we have Bethesda. They're coming out there with Bethesda going at a 12 a.m. time slot is what they're going with for us over here in the Eastern, which is a little definitely later. But, you know, is what it is, I guess, right?
Right.
So they're going to be out there, and known quantities, I guess we know from Bethesda, is Quake.
Quake Champions, yep.
You know, as far as I know, they've been doing, like, obviously they've been doing some betas, closed betas, but I don't think we have a release date for Quake yet, right?
I'm not sure.
Like, I can't think of one,
Yeah.
at least. But, like, they've been putting out the betas.
Yeah,
that
they've been getting it out, and
I've been frequently missing.
yeah. Personally, I'm not too. Initially, when they first announced it, I was excited for Quake.
Right.
But then once they started rolling out how characters are going to be different, essentially a hero shooter.
Right.
Although I think they've said something where they'll have a more core experience of like pure arena shooter where like everybody's equal.
Right.
I might just be talking out of my ass with that, but I'm pretty sure they said something on that.
I have to imagine they're going to do something to accommodate that. Yeah. My problem with that stuff is that, so as an anecdote, I can even tell you, like, so I've tried to play the Quake beta 3 times, and each time something happened and I missed it or it didn't work, the servers were crashing or whatever. And that just led me to spend $10 on Steam to download Quake Live Arena. And
Isn't that free?
It used to be.
Oh, wow.
So now you have to pay for it on Steam, and you have like all these people have made custom maps and stuff, and it's a pretty good experience.
It's cool, but jumping into that multiplayer, you just get wrecked.
Oh, fuck yeah. These people have been playing it for like fucking over a decade at this point. And I'm like someone who used to play it all the time, hasn't played it since like forever. So like I'm like playing against these people, I'm getting my ass kicked. But I was fucking loving it. And like that's kind of the thing is like I was here to play the beta. You wouldn't let me experience it even though I tried. I went for the next thing and that was great. And that's basically like I have to compete against that. Like they have to come out now and basically supersede this feeling I had playing Quake Live Arena, which was like excellent. It's all I wanted it to be, and they have to come out with this thing that does it. Yeah. Which is like the uphill battle they have, because like you have to come out here and you have to say, so why would I want to spend the $60 on this game when I can just spend the $10 and get the thing that I want? And it has a pretty healthy user base on there.
Yeah.
New maps that people have made. stuff like that. Like, it has all the things I would want. So, like, when they came out with the characters, it makes sense because that's going to be a big differentiator. But at the same time, too, like, you have to have that core experience.
They're playing a dance right now between reinventing Quake and also keeping it true to what the core identity was and what people love about Quake.
Which is tough. Yeah, it's a tough thing to do. Yeah. You know, like, I'm interested in seeing where it goes, and like I'm not necessarily unsold on the idea of a, you know, Quake style, even with like characters and stuff. But like when I tried to do my due diligence and give him a chance to play it, and every time it's like, oh, server's not gonna work or whatever, or like we're gonna
you're trying to give it a chance, but it's just not letting you.
It's not letting me, and like, all right, so I'm gonna go get this other thing and just play the game, and like this is like it's fast, and it's exactly what I remember it being, and it's running smooth. I'm like, I'm good. Yeah. You know, I got the longest yard right here. It's all I need. You know. And what else you got for me?
Because the different characters aren't doing much for me, especially coming from a lot of Overwatch. Mm-hmm. So I don't really need that.
Right.
And as far as I don't really game too much on PCs on my PC, but as of right now, it's not coming off a console, right?
As far as I know, yeah. Yeah. I mean, they could come out with it. Maybe that's part of like the announcement. Yeah. Is they're gonna come out with it on a console too? Because
I would love a core, like, fast-paced arena shooter in the vein of Unreal Tournament or old school Quake or something, or even really Doom. But Doom flopped on that front.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because otherwise it was like a really good package. Yeah, but they haven't really had like a shooter like that for a while. Right?
I mean, the closest is Halo, but it's not like over the top.
Still not an arena.
Yeah, you know. Well, it is.
It's not that sort of fast-paced style.
Yeah, you're not like strafing fucking 10 feet per second.
You're not doing rocket jumps like that and shit.
Well, you could rocket jump.
But you're not doing them like...
You're not doing them purposefully with your 100% health.
I'll tell you the shit I saw when I was playing this game.
I know. That's like that's their movement.
Right.
Rocket jumps.
Like, that is the base level of movement going on there.
Snipes and fucking, you know, million-mile-per-hour strafes. Oh, trust me,
it's a whole new ball game you're putting on there.
Remember Unreal Championship on Xbox Live, the OG Xbox Live? Man, that was fun.
It was like one of the few things I played on there, and then
sacrilegious to PC players, but
of course. But I thought it was still really a good fun experience. Yeah.
And a lot of people say arena shooters can't work on console, but they could totally work. You know, whatever people say, whatever they want about aim assist, but they're a necessity for console shooters or games in general. But there's definitely a balance there that can be super fun to play on a console.
For sure. You know, it's something too where it is totally different though. Yeah. Like, I remember when in Quake 3 Arena came out, and it was like you can play it also on the Dreamcast. Mm-hmm. And I remember playing it on the Dreamcast, and the Dreamcast actually had like a keyboard and mouse setup. And you can play against PC players who are also only on keyboard and mouse, and you could definitely tell when you were playing against someone who was on the controller.
It's like in Shadowrun.
She would fuck them up.
Remember what happened in Shadowrun? They used to...
By the way...
Open season on console players.
Listen, this is going to be a separate thing. I know we're talking about Bethesda now, and Microsoft can do this.
I dropped the word, didn't I?
Listen, man. They came out with Shadowrun Returns. I loved it. They came out with fucking Shadowrun Online. It was not as good. I'm a big Shadowrun fan, man. I'm not even fucking playing. You give me another Shadowrun FPS, I'm in. I don't give a fuck.
That game was honestly ahead of its time. If that game were to release today, I think it would be way more successful. Especially after the Shadowrun Returns, you know, some of that built up. Well, I'm not talking about I never played the game, but I'm talking about just the zeitgeist of Shadowrun coming back.
I would say yes, but also like it's this weird position where like because it was a Kickstarter game, and in that video it was like they went through and like there was like they showed like Shadowrun, and then like they were like, oh, you know, and they were apologizing for it and shit, and like I think a lot of
apologizing for their FPS.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And like they were like, you know, it was a misstep because like, you know, in truth, like, as great as that game was, it still isn't really Shadowrun, you know. And like as like a fan of Shadowrun, like I think of me personally, I know it's a pen and paper game.
It's the nuts and bolts to Shadowrun.
Basically, you know, but like, you know, it was like to take the Shadowrun coat of paint and put it over Counter-Strike. And like, that's what made that like a really fun game, is because it was Counter-Strike with magic and shit. And like, in the Shadowrun universe, you had like a cyberpunk setting. And I thought that was like cool. Like, I thought that it worked well enough. And like, but at the same time too, like, as a big Shadowrun fan, I could definitely see the appeal of someone being like, oh, this fucking, how the hell are you gonna put Shadowrun's name on this? And it's not, like, you know, there's no data, like, nothing's happening at all that, like, really serves that world. So I can make that connection between the two.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily like. I'm not one of the fans that were like pissed off about it or anything like that. Like I was happy to see the Shadowrun brand live. I was happy to see it out there doing
work. I like
work.
to think we're open-minded enough to judge the game on the merit of its quality and the design of it. But I mean, you can understand the pushback initially as a fan.
And I think that Shadowrun Returns was something that was able to happen because of that. Like, they really definitely used that as leverage to help them kind of get to a point where they can sell the Kickstarter. And they were able to do that. Like, Harebrained Schemes is awesome. And they're really, like, I think they've done Kickstarters exceptionally well. And, like, one of the things that they've done to kind of get people into them is, like, they really have, like, kind of stayed true to that. Like, we want to work with you, the fan base, and kind of, like, cater to that sort of, like, provision of, you know, we know what you want, you know what we're expected, and like, you know, us kind of working with you first as opposed to going with publishers and stuff.
Yeah,
it's been really successful for them.
The relationship between in crowdfunding projects with their audience is pretty nice to see.
Super well done.
Yeah,
I don't know if they have. I mean, they have a Shadowrun license, so I guess if they were to make a first-person shooter, it would have to be them. So it's also why I think that deal will never happen, because like they would never go for it. But like at the same time too, it's like, listen, if they were to go for it, I would have no issue with it.
What was it, the Tree of Life or something?
Yep.
What was it? That's what it was called.
You drop that shit and they can just hang around the area and get healed.
I think it was cool, and it was in the Havoc engine, which was what Halo 1 was based off. Was made in, and the physics in that game are pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Speaking of physics in Halo 1, I guess that's another thing I want to see. Mm-hmm. Is that physics engine coming back? Do some Warthog jumps, get some Shadowrun 2 in there. Let's go. Bring Havoc back.
Oh, yeah, man.
I mean, Havoc is still prevalent in a lot of games, but it's not like...
Not like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But back to Bethesda, I guess. Yeah, I guess.
I suppose if we have to.
We gotta get back into them. And I'll talk about Shadowrun all day.
You think we'll see anything with like Elder Scrolls or anything? Maybe Skyrim for the Switch?
I have to imagine we'll see Skyrim for the Switch, but I guess that's a good question is, do you think it'll be at Bethesda or you think it'll be at Nintendo's?
I don't want to see it at the Direct.
Me either.
Yeah.
Like there's
30
certain...
minutes. We'll get to that, but...
Yeah. You know, certain things that I definitely don't want to see taking up that time. So I would rather see it at Bethesda, or honestly, you know what Skyrim is. You know? Yeah. So like, why waste the time? Like, unless you're going to talk about some of this stuff.
At least have it somewhere like on the show floor, or maybe just a note in the interview.
I could see them having, like, so let's say they're going to come out with... I could see them having a Skyrim segment or like a Elder Scrolls segment, and it's like, let's have Elder Scrolls Online. Then let's go and have like Elder Scrolls 6 or whatever, and let's also have a Skyrim thing. And we march someone out from Nintendo, and they demonstrate some of the gameplay features and portability of it, and that's it. And like that would be fine. I can see that happening. Yeah. But you know, I'm someone who, you know, I don't really like that setting. I'm not into medieval shit. You know. So it's not really something that I'm overtly, like, looking for. So I can go either way with that stuff. I'm not really looking for that style of, like, a game, really, for the Switch or at all. When, like, I played all the Elder Scrolls up until 4.
Chance?
I can't do it, man. And I know, like, 5 was, like, a big mainstream success, but, like, I can't get into it. Yeah. Ain't for me, man.
The arts, I like the idea of it, you know, the open-ended nature to the environments, you know, and exploration and whatnot. But something about the art style and the design of the combat, it just doesn't stick with me.
They're empty worlds, too.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you see all these people who are, like, when Skyrim came out, they're, like, gathering cheese and putting them in houses and shit. And I'm like, cool. Is that really what you're doing in the game? Like, I mean, I guess make your own fun, I guess, right? But, like, if that's... what you spend $60 is to, like, grab all the cheese in the world and put them in a house. I mean, like, cool, but, like, I guess it's cool you could do that, but at the same time, too, like, I'm not really dying or falling head over heels for that experience, you know?
Yeah.
That ain't really what I'm about. But, like, outside of that, like, you know, I can see them having a segment. I haven't seen much about how successful Elder Scrolls Online has been.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know either.
I mean, I hope that's not something they talk about.
Yeah.
You know, they love to give the pretty much essentially the press briefings where they show their stats and whatnot. Where it's like,
I hate when they treat these press conferences as press conferences.
Man, I don't need that.
I hate it.
You know, it's like investors meeting during these press conferences. You know, I don't need that right now. You know? This is our Christmas week. Give us presents.
10 years ago, like I do feel like at anything, like companies been good about getting away from that shit.
Yeah.
But definitely, you're right.
Especially now, it's shifting more towards the fans and not less about
they're press conferences, but in name only. Like they are like media and consumer.
Because they still need to sell to investors or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Well, they have the whole shadow E3 where they have like back end deals and people that are buyers that are on like a whole other level and shit. You know. Yeah. E3 2.
Anything?
Reverse E3 3 3E. Other than that, from
E3.
E3. Ooh, 13.
Oh shit!
Oof.
Label it.
Other than that, from Bethesda, like, you know, outside of like those things, I would love to either see Doom DLC or a Doom 2. I would like to see what they could do. It is and it isn't. Like, that's why I'm kind of like DLC. But what's weird is because I feel like Doom was great. I love that game. The multiplayer was garbage.
Yeah.
You know, but they totally recreated Doom in a way that like re-energized it. It was absolutely one of my favorite games of last year. That being said, I really don't know if they can do that again. So like I'm kind of interested in seeing where they take that game. DLC seems to be the way to go. It would be a smart choice, I think, as opposed to a 2, where you kind of just expand on it, maybe continue the story a little bit. I think I'd be satisfied with that. But I wouldn't be satisfied knowing like what they intend to do with this franchise, because at this point, like Doom has been totally reinvented, and I would really want to know like where they can kind of take that. At that being said, though, I would say Doom 2 would be too soon, but DLC I think is kind of
DLC will be fine.
Seems to fit.
Campaign expansion or standalone story or something, plus a reinventing of the multiplayer. That would be cool.
I would actually be cool with that. That would be cool. It would be weird, though, because at this point, though, like, who would they have working on that when, like, the team that I would want working on that's probably doing Quake?
Creative Assembly. I don't know what they're working on right now, actually. But other than that, because I think they worked on the multiplayer specifically.
Because it was such a bomb, the Doom multiplayer.
It really was.
And, like, it was disappointing. But, like, at the same time, too, like, if they're going to focus on making one thing have good multiplayer, I would rather it be Quake. If they're going to exert all their efforts and, like, put certain, like, A-tier teams on it, I'd rather them put that onto Quake as opposed to Doom, because, like, Quake is something that I think is going to... When I think of Quake, I definitely think of multiplayer Quakes as opposed to, and specifically Quake 3 Arena and the expansion, as opposed to Quake 1 and 2. You know, or Quake 4.
I'm sure people would want that style back.
For sure. But at the same time, too, like, I'm, hey, you know what? Maybe the Doom team makes Quake like a reinvention of the actual Quake single-player type experience.
That could be cool, actually. Make it back in the medieval times.
Or you think, like, totally go with the prototype medieval stuff?
Yeah, whatever, like that setting that they had in the first game.
What the hell was that? It wasn't Mars, but it was still like
It was like I don't know specifically what you would call it. I would guess like a medieval flavor of sorts. Right?
Well, that's like Hexen more. Like Quake was originally like from my.
So am I confusing Quake 1 with Hexen?
I think so, because Quake 1, like I think originally prototype of Quakes were supposed to be of medieval setting. And then it became more of like a very brown shooter, which also I think lends itself to feeling like a medieval setting.
Yeah.
But it was still kind of a sci-fi thing. I just think it was somewhere else in space. And then eventually, like, maybe they went to Mars too. Like, so Doom is all Mars stuff and hell. And Quake is, I think, just other space stuff. So it still is like a sci-fi thing. Right. But I can't, like, to me, again, when I think of Quake, I think of, like, that Quake 3 Arena style thing. I've totally, like, I loved when Quake 1 and Quake 2 came out. I remember playing the freeware versions and, like, playing the shit out of that. And then, like, eventually getting the games and playing the hell out of that, too. But, like, in terms of the story and the lineage of that, like, it's just, like, Doom takes precedence in that. Doom is, to me, their single-player experience, and Quake, to me, is the multiplayer experience. So, like, that's kind of what I've taken those id-style games to be. And then when the only other one that I can kind of remember is 4, when Quake 4 was hot garbage. So like
that was the launch title for the 360, right?
yeah, and that was bad. And it came with Quake 2, which was cool, but that's the only good thing it had going for it.
There's rumors. Is that all you were gonna say for?
Nah.
Well, there to jump to another game. There's rumors of Evil Within 2.
Yes.
You think we'll see anything with that? Do you want to see anything from that?
I think we will. I couldn't care less. Yeah. Evil Within 1 was fucking garbage, and I think everyone that's like, oh man, the new Shinji Mikami game, it's like a fucking game sucked. The game was bad. And I think that like people who are acting like they're excited for 2 are like, hey man, maybe they do reboot it and they make a good thing now, but like
damn, the shots.
That shit was bad.
They're popping off right now.
Fucking bad, bro.
If they announce it 2, I think I will finally play through 1.
Yeah.
I was gonna pick up Alien Isolation recently because I never played through it. I've just been interested in it. But if they do announce 2, maybe I'll pick that up.
I would say that I know, like, right now on Steam, Evil Within 1 is like $10. $10 is probably the right price for it. So the big problem that I had with Evil Within was, like, it was, like, forced into, like, a weird letterbox thing half the time.
They patched that.
Yeah, but I still have that experience when I first played it. And, like, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, great, you patched it, but, like, it took you way too long and you already got $60 out of me. So, like, you kind of fucked me over. So, like, I'm not really interested in, like, dealing with that.
Yeah.
I also felt like the game didn't really control that well, and like I wasn't really feeling like its style or story that it had going on at the time either. Like I thought it was kind of really cheesy and lame.
So it didn't set you up for future investment?
Not at all. So, you know, if they come up with 2 and they treat it like a reboot, like, hey, maybe there's something there. Like, I'm not necessarily opposed to it, but like, I've seen a lot of people out there that are like very excited, like, oh yeah, Evil Within 2. I'm like, I could not.
Yeah.
The name Evil Within 2 does not inspire me to get excited, you know.
Much weight for me either. Right?
Yeah. Could see where it goes, though.
Yeah, who knows? Anything else from Bethesda that's screaming out to you right now?
Not that I could think of, you know. Like, I feel like it has to be like this huge Quake show, but I don't know when QuakeCon is, so, you know. But, like, I feel like that's kind of their...
Over the summer?
Right.
About, like, July or something? August? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I just feel like they have to kind of, like, if Quake is a big enough deal, and I feel like they have to come out there and they have to like kind of do right by Quake, and that should be a big focus of what their stuff is.
Yeah, I would love if they announced console support, after, like maybe post-launch or something, but we'll see.
True.
So who's next?
So following Bethesda, the next big one that we have is going to be Ubisoft.
Ubisoft. What are we expecting? Other than the Rabbids.
Well, let's talk about it. So, Ubisoft is, you know, they're... Let me ask, too, because I feel like I had a hammer on it. Is it Ubisoft or Ubisoft?
Ubisoft.
It's Ubisoft? Because, like,
That's still a big thing in the industry. A lot of Ubisoft out there.
And, like, I remember at the conferences, like, just, like, you had people that were saying the 2 separate ways. Like, what the fuck's going on?
Did you see the rebranding of it, too?
Yeah.
It's funny. Someone made a GIF of... if they flip the Ubisoft sign on the side, it looks like a poop emoji.
Yep.
It's the funniest thing.
I actually liked looking at, they had their old school one. Like, they should have brought that shit back. I thought that looked cool, like the pink one and everything.
Oh, the retro one.
Yep. I thought that stuff looked cool as hell. I'm like, yo, you should have just went for it, made that, man.
Totally.
I think it looked cool as hell. Yeah. But let's talk about the stuff we know that got leaked, because Ubisoft is a leaky ship, and all this stuff just comes out. So,
well, you want to talk about Rabbids first?
Let's go for it.
Well, I mean, I guess it'd be a good time to plug the other video. We spoke in depth about Rabbids and the leak that we got recently in our previous Nintendo E3 discussion. Playing Mario Kart in the background. It's pretty fun. Check it out.
It's a good video. You should definitely check it out.
Yeah, but to add on to that, the Rabbids, I mean, time has passed. I'm still ready for it. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm still absolutely
going in with an open mind.
You know, and if you're going to be like coming out in 3 months too, I'm super in. Like, I want to actually see it in motion, see what you're about.
Yeah.
A big development before we even talk about maybe the game is, like, since then there was like a picture of like again, Ubisoft being leaky as it is like these like prototype amiibos of the Rabbids.
Excuse me, it's amiibo.
Oh, that is true. You're all right. It's amiibo, and they're always lowercase a. Gotta get your style right.
Gotta respect that amiibo, baby.
It's true. But there was the 4 amiibo of the like Rabbids, and I thought that looked kind of like, I thought they looked good.
Which one? Hot take. Favorite rabbit
Of the four?
of the four?
Yoshi.
Oh, without a doubt.
Come on, son.
I do love the Peach one though. There's something hilarious that
She's
all
got
of
a
them
good
are wearing
style, too.
pants and not her. You know, it's so funny.
Yep.
The Yoshi amiibo. I mean, the Yoshi rabbit looks hilarious with the eyes looking different ways.
Right.
So cute.
I think, and like a lot of people like were immediately like so quick to hate on this game because of like the humor and stuff, but I feel like, you know, taking it and being like these like weird takes on like these characters that you have and you know, like Mario and Luigi and Peach and Yoshi, and being like these weird like caricatures of them is, I think, very interesting. So like it's a very potentially fun thing, and I feel like them kind of taking Peach and then like doing like this weird like social media person like
With
hashtags
the camera,
and
taking
stuff.
a selfie.
Right, like I think like that's like it's a weird parody satire place to go. I think that's like a interesting thing that I'm interested in seeing where that can go, you know.
I want to see what the game looks like in action.
Right.
Because they said specifically 35% exploration. Excuse me, 65% just battle,
Right.
and it's going to be an RPG. So what is I'm more curious to see what the exploration is going to be like. If it's going to be a turn-based system.
Right.
So we've experienced a lot of that before. But personally, if almost half of the game is going to be exploration based too, and then it's gonna with the art style we saw in the pictures, I mean, it could be a pleasant title.
I feel like I agree. You know, like I want to say that I'd heard that it's more of like a like to differentiate it from like the Super Mario RPG or the Mario and Luigi or even the Paper Mario style. Is it's a little bit more like an XCOM style thing?
Yes. What are those SRPGs? Simulation RPGs there?
Right, so it's like a little bit more of that strategy RPG style thing where it's like you have
strategy,
and you could do like Overwatch, you could put a person there and like if someone walks past, they'll shoot them. Yeah. It's like I'm very interested in seeing what the mechanics of it are for sure. And the only things we've seen are the amiibo and the like promo art. We haven't actually seen any like in-game anything.
Nothing, yeah.
You know, so like
the one screen we did see of 4 of them going down the path. To me, it seemed like it'll maybe have an overworld similar to Mario 3D World.
right.
Which is why I'm curious to the exploration. Like, how is exploration gonna be a big part of a design like that? But then with the combat of a strategy RPG, that's a interesting. The interplay of the two it could be cool.
So it's like, you know, like it's something where just I think seeing it is going to be like a big thing to me. I'm kind of excited for. Although I think like it might be good to dial back to, do you think that Ubisoft is the one that goes and shows this game? Or do you think that they do show this at the Direct?
I think they both show them, but to the extent of which shows more.
Right.
I could see that going to Ubisoft, I guess, because it's their property and whatnot, and maybe like a trailer or something for the Direct.
Yeah.
But then I wouldn't be surprised if they had like a 5-minute demo at the Direct or something. I don't know.
What I'm thinking is maybe during Direct they show the amiibo.
Yeah.
And then maybe like they do like an actual like release calendar type thing and then it's there. My thing is like because, and like we'll get into it later on, but because of like the potential time limits on it, I don't want them spending time on it, but also at the same time too, like it was leaked.
Yeah.
So like I can't fault them for having spending time on it, you know? Like this would have been when it was supposed to be unveiled, but like we heard about it because rumors and leaks and stuff like that. So like if they do decide to show it in Direct, I couldn't necessarily be opposed to that, but like we'll talk about that I guess when we get into it.
I would like if because this leak received a lot of criticisms for how it was handled.
Right.
Like, oh, we gotta convince the gamers of this and whatnot.
Right.
That'd be funny if Ubisoft comes out with a trailer and like a rabbit's on screen and they're totally self-aware of what's going on, and like Ubisoft plays it off like the rabbits leaked it or something.
That'd be cool as hell. I'd love that actually. That'd be fun.
That'd be cool.
Like Peach messes up when she's doing like her Snapchat. Yeah. And she goes and
to drop a hot theory on you. Rabbit. I said it in the other video. What if Nabbit was a rabbit?
I mean, hey, look.
Bridging the universe.
You know what I think would be cool, and I would definitely not be against whatsoever, is if they went and like Nabbit was in there and they did some rabbit stuff. You also get Wario and Waluigi in there, and you fucking just make that happen.
Wario and Waluigi are working with the enemy rabbits.
Yep.
Like they're part of the mayhem that's going on.
No, I think that would be cool. Like this
and
would be
Nabbit
the time.
is the anti-hero.
Oh shit.
He's the Venom of this universe. Let's go.
He turns traitor. He doesn't work with Wario and Waluigi anymore. He goes and now he works with Mario.
He was a thief for hire. He was a mercenary for them. Yep.
There you go. Shit.
Ubisoft, Nintendo, we're right here.
Just let us go, man. Hey,
PM us.
Some of the ideas are free, but it's the tip of the iceberg. Rest of it, you gotta, grease these palms. You know what I mean,
mad greasy palms. Let's go.
But I'm excited for it. I want to see what that game is. I want to see what it's about. I want a firm date. If it's gonna come out in August or September. I'm hoping August.
The firmest of dates.
If you know what I'm saying.
Outside of the rabbits, though, another Ubisoft's leaky ship. We got
Ubisoft trademark leak.
Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yep.
Which we recently heard about the season pass or whatever.
Yeah, and it's like a gold edition, and there's gonna be like a.
It's gonna include like a story mission and whatnot.
They've done that before for other Assassin's Creed, so it's not necessarily new that they're doing that.
Yeah, it's part of the course with those games, or with games in general, I guess. But as far as like what I want to see from it,
well, what is it first?
Oh, right. Well, it's apparently gonna be based in Egypt,
right?
Which I think is an interesting concept for Assassin's Creed.
Could be.
Yeah, it all depends on execution, of course. And then they've said there's going to be naval combat returning. So I don't know how that's going to work with the Egypt setting.
All in the River Nile.
Yeah. I mean, it could work, but I mean, I'm more thinking of.
Could it though? Like, I mean, the Nile's not that big, is it? If you'd have a naval ship,
it depends. It depends on how much. I was about to say it depends on how much they dive into that.
True.
Because personally, I want to see more of like Egypts and tombs. And
what if you're gonna get sand ships? You're gonna do naval battles on sand.
On sand?
Yep.
Oh.
Get what if the pyramids were ships?
Oh my god!
And then they're sitting there, and then but they really were, but they were originally ships, and they're shot down ships.
Ancient aliens made it that. This is Assassin's Creed right here.
Yep.
This is prime material.
This is it.
The pyramids are ships.
Yep.
People have lost how to control them, so they're just thought to be tombs. That was like what they're masked as. And they're really like these crazy towers and insane technology and pyramids that this is why we gotta like go back into time as an assassin and discover all this so that we can take that information into the because what is it that they're in the Animus or whatnot?
Yep.
So take it back to the real world. And then the game turns out to not even be about Egypt. That's only 10%.
That's it.
And then the 90% is like fucking 100 years in the future.
Current day Egypt.
Humanity has figured out how to manipulate the pyramids to their will, to bend it to their will.
What if sarcophagus was the original Animus?
I'm saying. Drop it.
Hey,
Drop it.
Come at me, Ubisoft. I got you.
What if King Tut wasn't dead? And he was an immortal, and the mummy they have of him wasn't really him. It was his twin brother.
What if mummies were wrapped that way because they were captains of their ships?
Shit. I mean, I don't know what happened to Desmond, what his status is. But what
Desmond's
if he
super dead.
Oh, he is?
Well, I mean, this is Origin, so maybe he's somehow alive again, but they killed him in 3.
Maybe he's not really dead. Maybe who we thought was dead was a clone of Desmond, and he's really the pharaoh of ancient Egypt that was trapped and locked away for all these years. And Assassin's Creed wraps it all up in this story. You must find your end by going through your beginning.
Oh, shit.
Assassin's Creed Origins. Desmond is a pharaoh.
There it is. Put it on the back of the box. Let's go. Let's make it happen. Man, I mean,
they could really go anywhere with this.
They could go places with this fucking Assassin's Creed, But that's kind of the problem with Assassin's Creed for the last couple games, man. Bless.
Thanks. That was a cough, but thank you.
Always blessed. You blessed.
My sneeze and cough sounded like
blessings brought down upon you.
I'll take them. I'll take all the blessings I can get.
Put it to heart. But the Assassin's Creed games have kind of gotten weird since you've had it used to be more contained. You had the Desmond story, and they ended that in 3, and now it's all like Abstergo, which is like a fake Ubisoft company doing a research into things and doing past stuff, and they've gotten weird, and it's kind of setting and tourism in that sense. But the Syndicate I thought was pretty good. The last one they came out with, I thought was not so bad. So they've turned around some of the bad taste I've had in my mouth to the series, where I'm kind of looking forward to a new one.
2 years by the time this will have come out.
Yeah.
Well, if it does reach this year, which I'm sure
it was the perfect Black Friday game. You know, it was the perfect get it for $40 because it was guaranteed to be $40 on Black Friday. So just go into a store and just roll through and pick that up.
Yeah.
I can imagine it being a perfect rental, similar thing, you know, and that's kind of where those games kind of lie for me now at this point, which is a little sad because they used to be so huge, but that's kind of where they are.
So, as far as design of it, I would like it if they brought back the multiplayer.
Yes.
Competitive and co-op, because even though Unity has its problems or had its problems, because I know they fixed a bunch of it. There were definitely some cool elements to the multiplayer, the co-op aspects to it, like assassinating a target together, tackling and from multiple angles, and the mission designs and whatnot. But there were some cool elements to that game where I would like to see again in a future Assassin's Creed.
Oh yeah.
Although I don't know if we'll see this in this one, because this one feels like they got to bring it back, the brand, because they started. You know,
they had a bad
taste. It built up a bad taste in coming out every year. You know? So
I do feel like it would go a long way to me for me personally wanting to own the game if they were to re-add any multiplayer element, even if it was. I still love the, let's say, competitive style, the one that it was. You know, you gotta pretend your AI and hiding. Yeah. I still think that has a lot of play. Definitely. I think that can go very far, and I would love to see more of that. You know,
I mean. Quick shout out to Fade. Dude still plays Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag multiplayer. That's crazy.
You know, it is. Man's dedicated.
Yeah. It definitely has a very niche hardcore community. Very small, but
it's such a cool concept.
It is a very cool concept.
You know, and it's well executed. You know,
that's what I was hoping we would see from Watch Dogs with their multiplayer, with their contracts and targets and whatnot. But it didn't evolve to that, unfortunately.
True.
But yeah.
Anything that you're expecting out of
Ubisoft?
Well, Assassin's Creed.
Expecting? Nah.
True. So other known quantities then that we know about. We know about South Park. South Park was delayed pretty heavy, and now it's coming out at the end of this year.
I was gonna say they confirmed that it's coming out this year, right?
Yeah, but that can still kind of go either way. Right. I'm not too sure. I don't really know what I feel about that game.
The first one was good.
It was, but now it's a different team doing it.
Yeah.
And I also feel like the trailers they've shown. So
I like how they're wrapping it in the superhero lore, though. At least.
Yes and no, because a lot of the superhero lore, like I think it's cool that they're doing that as opposed to like the Lord of the Rings style, right? They're not continuing with that, and they're going now with the more superhero elements. But what worked about the previous game, as a person who hasn't liked or watched South Park in years, is that the previous game was a perfect mixture of old style, so it had their old jokes and old, continuity stuff, and it had some of the newer stuff, but it was mostly some of the older stuff that I think is like way superior, and less of this newer stuff. You look at this newer game and some of the trailers they've shown, and I think that a lot of the Coon stuff is just not funny, and like it's like the casual racism of Cartman is not humorous anymore. Like times have really changed, and it's not like a funny.
You think it'll be a miss in today's market?
I think so. Like I remember watching that show and I never laughed at all, and I'm like, this is not funny. Like it's just not funny at all.
It's just not funny. South Park, stop it.
The show I don't think has been funny for a while either. I just don't think it hasn't been as biting or anything as it used to be. I think it just used to be a lot more edgy. It used to be a lot more, it had something going for it. And like it now is. It's a testament to how quickly they can make episodes and stuff. They have such a quick turnaround time, Matt and Trey. But, I just don't think, maybe that goes against it is because you can pump out an episode so quickly that, you don't really have much thought to, the actual product itself and what it's going to be. It becomes more, ephemeral. Yeah. You don't really have much of an actual, stake in it anymore. I don't know. It's just, the style of humor, hasn't been very good. And they've tried to do, I've seen and heard these whole series long story arcs and stuff like that. again, just nothing that really kind of does it for me. So like, you know, it could just be simply having outgrown that style or whatever. But
yeah, I can't even say how many. I've only watched a few episodes of South Park in years. Mm-hmm. As far as like what they're doing now, I don't know if they're still doing the member berries, but I thought that was like the funniest thing of the few episodes I've seen.
Which one?
When like the whole member berries thing.
I don't even know what that is.
Where it's like a play on nostalgia, and you never heard of the member berries?
Nope.
Oh wow!
I've been so out of the South Park game for so long.
Because you know how people like are so lost in it started with I think Star Wars jokes. It's like remember. It's like, remember when Chewbacca, blah, 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 remember? And then it was like a hive mind, pretty much, like a whole bunch of berries going like, oh, I remember that, oh, I remember. And it's just like this whole, it's jokes on nostalgia, how people feed into it, I guess. And
true. Was that like a whole like season-long arc that they were doing type thing?
Yeah, but I don't know if is the season still going on this year.
I have no clue.
Yeah,
I haven't watched it, and I was
South Park.
probably in like high school or whatever, and I was still watching it. Maybe like it's been so long.
South Park. They have the same fucking theme song, pretty much.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm removed from South Park. I'm not invested in it.
Yeah, it just kind of sucks. I think because like I think they like. That game before was like it played well, and then like if you were someone it hit you in a good point where you were like, oh yeah, South Park, yeah, South Park, and now like you
I
look
remember.
Right, and now you look at someone that's like, oh, South Park, and it's like like it's kind of like I get why I left, so I'm kind of
I can see that.
Yeah.
What else? What else is Ubisoft
that we know of?
Yeah.
I want to say that's it for stuff that we know about, like known quantities.
Yeah. You know what I'd want to see that we don't know of anything for? Something with Rayman. I like the 2D Rayman games.
Oh, what are they They're putting out Rayman Legends for the Switch?
Yeah. I mean that came out 3 years ago?
Yeah, I hot take. Never really liked Rayman Origins or Legends.
Oh no?
Nope.
Oh, I thought they were cool.
Never really liked them.
Maybe. I mean, going back to Rabbids, they're exponentially more popular than Rayman these days.
Oh yeah.
But now that we're getting that crossover, maybe little casual drop of Rayman and Smash. Maybe we'll Nintendo prediction.
I think we'll get into that soon.
I would love that. But
I mean, hey, they're coming out with Rayman Amiibo. Yeah. Same, but we'll get into that. We'll get into that. We'll little teaser.
But other than that,
I would like to see another Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
I'd be down for another Splinter Cell.
How about like going back, like a prequel? Maybe something in Vietnam? I don't know. Oh, no, well, it kind of...
I wouldn't hate that, I guess, but...
But to go against that, Splinter Cell excels when it's like... when you're in offices or like agencies or whatever, going through inner city places and trying to be all stealth and... like that environment.
So for sure.
Vietnam would kind of be a departure, I guess.
Right. Yeah. So you want to have kind of that modern setting. I wouldn't be against like a straight up Splinter Cell reboot though, because the last one they came out with like Blacklist was like super weird, and it was like like just the story has gotten like way out there. So like I wouldn't be opposed to them like straight up rebooting that stuff and doing something with it.
And I want to see there's been something on Blacklist being backwards compatible. For Xbox One, or that they want to make it. I don't know, something with backwards compatibility.
I mean, it could be, and then that would be maybe they put it as like a pre-order bonus,
maybe
sort of thing.
Because Splinter Cell, the later games had some really interesting multiplayer.
That's what I was just about to bring up.
Mercs, and the whole dynamic of a team of mercenaries versus a team of spies. Like one team is you control first person, the other team is third person. I love that dynamic, which was similar in a quick tangent, which Arkham Origins,
right?
Which I would like to see that return. Just that style of multiplayer would be cool.
I agree. I mean, I think, and I was gonna bring up too, is like it's been so long since we had something like that too, and I think that they kind of need to like lean into some of that stuff. I'd be super down for that. I also was thinking too that like that would be such a cool concept to have on the Switch, because you could do a lot of really cool stuff with that between either like. I think just having the ability to have two Joy-Cons, and then like let's say like in a scenario in which there were 2 switches in the room. You can have something where just from that very quickly you can have 2-on-2 battles, and you could do something like very cool with the hacking and the spies versus mercs aspect of that.
For a game like Splinter Cell, I could only really see that if you can't do split screen, but you can LAN it, so everybody needs their own pair.
Exactly. But I think like if they were to go with something like that, then like I think that would be cool. Or even if they were just going online, like I think like I feel like there's some aspects of like the what is that bomb explosion game? The don't touch, like you have to cut the wire,
the virtual reality game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Like I want to see those types of things brought into more of like these games, and the 2-screen experience kind of lends itself to it. And I think there's certain things like that you can then kind of then apply in generalizations to something like Splinter Cell. That kind of makes it more perfect for something like the Switch. Because then you can have something where it's like the system's on there and you have the game, whatever going on there. But then if you have someone else who has another one, you could do some kind of like, even like real world sort of spies versus mercs type thing or something like that. You know, I think there's a lot of possibilities that you kind of have in there that I want to see like some sort of like outside the box thinking regarding that I think could be really cool.
You think if they brought it back, it would be a Microsoft exclusive? That could be something interesting for their Xbox platform.
That would definitely get me excited for that, for sure.
Yeah.
I'd
like
be
a
down
timed
for that.
exclusivity deal or something. Even though usually I'm against those.
Yeah. But it would be a smart play, and it seems to be the thing everyone's doing
from their
now,
perspective, you know.
You know, the runaway success after the fact too of like Rainbow Siege. So, you know, originally came out and it was like, you know, wasn't that popular, but then they've really done work to kind of turn that around.
Added to it.
You think they would come out with a new Rainbow Six?
Maybe an expansion. Because the game is still doing well.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that they would want to cannibalize that right now. But I could see an expansion of some sort.
True.
Or maybe some change to impact the grindy nature of having to unlock all the characters. Because you can get all that stuff for free.
Right.
Or you can pay for it. But the grind to get those characters, I'm not too sure if they can be improved upon further, you know? Because it's a balance of you want to sell your microtransactions, but you don't want to make it too egregious that it's like, wow, I got to put in 800 hours to get one character.
Well, hell yeah, yeah. Which is, I think, another discussion we're going to have very soon. I think also in terms of known quantities, they announced The Crew 2.
I'm not sure.
The Crew was garbage. When they originally showed The Crew, though, I was really originally like super excited for it. And then they kind of just dropped the ball. Like, it was one of those things where they had the trailer and it was like, oh man, you're racing. And then like they pulled the zoom out and it's like, oh, you're racing online against the world in a persistent style. You know, I just like a real quick thing, if they were to come out with it and actually pull it off, I think that would be cool. I'd be down for that. Ubisoft has been very good about showing off new IPs though at E3. So like, I'm excited to see what they bring to the table that's new.
Maybe something for Honor.
For of Honor has been one of those games that also has had like kind of runaway success after the fact. I think they also just announced that they're gonna have like a season pass type of thing.
Well, I guess that's I'm not too sure how the population is for that game, but as far as like adding new content, that would be cool. Like I didn't hear of anything with the season pass.
Yeah, I thought it was a season pass. It might have just been like DLC in itself.
Because they added 2 new characters. But that'd be cool if maybe they added a campaign extension or more characters even. I don't know. I can see them supporting that game further at E3.
For sure. Yeah. I wouldn't be against that.
Maybe a new faction. A faction would be good. See, that For Honor is the kind of game where it can go both ways. You can make a sequel for it.
Right.
Or you can just expand on it with new factions, like maybe...
that would be sufficient.
Like Spartans or something.
True.
Roman soldiers or something, I don't know. There's tons of things they could do with that.
Yeah, for sure. Fucking go out there and just put in like, you know, you have all these people and it's like, you're just like, you know, 2017 Marines. Fucking
having a fucking machine gun?
Yeah. So what are they going to do against these, you know, medieval knights? Like, how are they going to handle it?
Or ninjas?
Fucking go for it. Just go full sci-fi or whatever.
Sci-fi?
Yep.
Aliens.
You know, let's go.
Dude, Predator expansion. Let's get Predators in there. Because they have their weapons, but they're more about like hand-to-hand, getting up close.
True. That camouflage, though, I don't know how they're going to deal with that.
I know. They would have to balance that, though.
And that
be on a cool
medieval dark age mindset to be like, what the fuck?
Dude, a Predator movie in the medieval age would be sick. That would be sick, though.
Medieval Predator?
No, I'm just saying, you know how like it was Vietnam with Arnold?
Yeah.
Something like that.
I think you could do something with that. Be interesting.
Yeah.
Be down with that.
Predator's dope. I don't care. I love it.
All right. So then, after Ubisoft, any other thoughts on Ubisoft?
Nah. Nothing screaming out to me right now. I'm sure that with all these things, we're going to think about things after the fact. Like, I already thought of State of Decay 2 that we didn't really talk about with Microsoft.
Right.
I mean, it has online multiplayer, co-op, which is going to be cool, but that I'm going in again with an open mind. And there's going to be other games going forward. We're going to be like, shit, why didn't we talk about that?
Of course. But then, but then after we see him be like, yeah, that's right. And
then we got the follow-up videos, though, anyway.
Exactly. So. Hey, it just means more content for you to come back and check out.
That's what I'm saying.
It is what it is. It's all here for you, right here. Check them out.
Plug it.
Look over here. Check out the side. All those videos. Check them.
Who's next for the conferences?
Then we would have Sony.
Sony, okay.
So let's talk about Sony. What do we know about Sony? We know that we're going to have God of War.
I don't have a list handy, but they did announce that they're going to be talking about a few games.
Yes.
Most of which I'm excited for is what they do with God of War. Mm-hmm. I really like the perspective change that they have going for it. Mm-hmm. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with the story. It seems like they're bringing in more... It's going to be a little more grounded in the fact that his son is going to be part of the story in some way. Mm-hmm. To see the relationship between Kratos and his son will be interesting because Kratos as a character is just always yelling, always angry, ripping eyes out and whatnot.
Just fucking stabbing dudes,
And the trailer really did something like it grabbed me because I like the again, you don't see Kratos like that, right? You don't know him for that, but to see his son, to see like his son go through that thing that it was with the deer or whatnot. Yeah. And then Kratos was going to put his hand on his son's back to to say that he was proud of him or whatever. But he didn't do that. Just those little things like that. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to explain that more, but I just like how
I'm kind of with you, but I'm also kind of a mind where it's like. So I don't know if this is going to be like a whole-on reboot or anything like that, right? Like I think they're just straight up calling it God of War, right? They're not calling it God of War 4.
I thought it's not a reboot.
I don't know because I know that they put up painters outside the building and stuff.
Because there's no number.
Yeah, it just says God of War. Yeah. So I assume like it might it technically is 4, I guess, but is it a reboot? Like is this I'm interested in seeing where that goes.
Yeah.
But when they showed it, I was like, I can go both ways on it, right? Because it's more of the datification of games, right? People that have played games have gotten older and they have children now, and now they're creating games that are about that thing. And it's something that I think has been done enough at this point that it didn't necessarily do anything for me to have Kratos, even though he's an angry person, now all of a sudden be like a loving father. Right. Like, it wasn't necessarily something that kind of pulled at my wings. But if they were to go in there, I think there's an interesting angle they can take with it because Kratos is always a fucking dick. So if he continues to be a dick to his son, then maybe there's something interesting you can have there about the datification abuse version. Where it's like, instead of it being like the loving father and like, oh, how am I going to pass things on to the next generation? But now it's going to be like, no, I was an asshole and I'm going to continue to be an asshole to my son.
How about they do that, right?
I
can't see them doing that, but that would be crazy if he's just a complete dick.
Right.
He tortures his son, makes him go through hell.
Yeah. That would be I think the way that you should kind of do that sort of thing is because it would be an interesting take on something that I think everyone else has done and it fits with that character. He's always a very angry jerk. So why the fuck would you change that? He would continue to be that. Having a son wouldn't change him.
Because of his family. Another hot drop right now. Mm-hmm. Are they going to say family in this game?
Oh, shit.
The family? Fast and Furious?
So
is Vin Diesel going to make an appearance in God of War?
I was about to say, I don't know if you've seen that poster. They finished it. And you had Kratos, his son. And if you look in the corner.
Bottom right?
Yup. You can check it and you can see Vin Diesel looking at you. And you have the whole family behind him in a flying V formation.
They're merging the universes, Fast and Furious and God of War.
Yep.
Let's go.
It's the way to do it. Where else you gonna go?
Space? Kratos is gonna take off the mask and he's The Rock.
Oh shit!
He's not even Kratos.
Oh shit! His son ends up being Vin Diesel. Damn!
And then you stay after the credits. The Rock is gonna take his mask off and he's Vince McMahon.
Oh shit!
It was me all along.
Oh shit! Rock was a puppet. He was a robot. Oh shit! He was part of the corporation. Damn, corporate Rock.
Anything specifically? Like, would you want to see multiplayer return or just focus straight on
for God of War? I think just go story stuff. I never really was into multiplayer for that stuff. I didn't really like those multiplayer focused games. But also, so like the thing that was also kind of like exciting about God of War is they were showing it seemed like a little bit more like, you know, instead of being like mash square and then hit triangle and X occasion and stuff like that, like it seemed like there was a little bit more going on combat wise.
The gameplay.
You know, I've been kind of tired of God of War for a long time, so like I feel like this reboot needs to kind of happen and kind of entice me in a way that I don't know if it necessarily is going to.
Yeah.
You know, I'm interested in seeing where it is and where it'll go, but word in the street is that it's a game that's not making it this year.
We haven't really seen many games with that style and camera perspective, right? Other than like maybe Vengeance is the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah,
like over the top, real close up, third person action.
I mean, I
like
think
even Bayonetta is still like zooms out a bit, you know.
I suppose
not as much as God of War because it's not fixed cameras or anything.
Yeah, I was thinking like a lot of Platinum's games in general kind of maybe fit that style, but you're right. Like I guess
nothing
they are
like over the shoulder though. You know?
Yeah, yeah. I guess. But, you know, we first saw God of War last year, or was it the year before?
2015.
2015. So we're at 2017.
I'm not sure. But.
And what I had heard, you know, people seem to, like, the big rumor at this point, we'll see. You know, right now there is no year listed on the poster as of this recording. But word is that it's going to be a 2018 game. So 3 years later. And we alluded to talking about this earlier.
It might have been last year. Because I can't remember what they showed other than that one trailer.
Yeah, that's true.
So I imagine it had to be last year because there was nothing more that we know of.
True.
Other than that.
Still, though, you announced the game last year, and then a year passes, still not out, and then it comes out maybe like February, whatever, 18. Maybe if we're lucky, fiscal year it makes it.
On that announcing and releasing, a year for me, to my liking, is the max. You know.
Yeah.
Like, even with something like Death Stranding, you know it's going to be a AAA budget game, and they arguably need to do little reminders of it over the few years. But I mean, even me, like, I wouldn't want to even have known about that game until at least like 6 months.
And that's also the thing with something like Death Stranding is like when they were coming out, it was like all of it was like really Kojima. Like even when they came out and they had the last trailer for it, like he came out and he walked in there and like he had the thing and like the lights went up as he walked past them and stuff. Like it was basically like kind of marketing Kojima, and then like that's how they ended up getting into their deal with Sony and stuff like that, right? But like at the same time too, it's like, but why you keep showing me like all these occasions and these weird trailers and shit, and then it's like, you know, the game's not coming out anytime soon. They're not going to be at E3, they're saying, this year because they're working on the game. So if you're doing all that stuff, then it's kind of like, so what is the point of announcing it so early? You know, I mean, obviously the point is to get you hyped on this thing because, like we mentioned before, you have a slate of games that you would then be enticed to then buy this particular system for.
Trajectory for down the line.
Right. But, like, when you're showing things like, as you mentioned before, 2015, where you have Final Fantasy, where they just recently came out, so it's not coming out between now and another 3 years. You know, you have Kingdom Hearts, what they showed at this point like 6 years ago.
Kingdom Hearts, oof.
Fucking Shenmue is supposed to come out at the end of this year, but also will not be making E3 because they're working on it. So you have all these things you're showing that still haven't come to fruition, you know, and like you're in this weird spot where it's like you can't keep punting that. Like it works until it doesn't, you know. I feel like people are getting wise to that idea, and I feel like they're not so interested in that anymore. And like Sony has come out and they've said like it's going to be all about the games. They're going to be basically the same style as last year, which is going to be trailers and trailers and trailers and not much talking. But like if all you're showing me is trailers and it's like shit that's not coming out and the actual tangible future, like I'm not going to get excited for that. Like I can't get excited for things that are like concepts or ideas
that you just know from history.
Right.
It's going to at least a few years off.
You know, and like
that was me in 2015. Everybody touted that as the year of dreams.
Right.
And it's like, okay.
It's like what? A Kickstarter that says it's coming out 2 years from now.
We're not seeing I mean, I can, if you're like a super hardcore fan of whatever they announced, like Final Fantasy, I can understand people going crazy for that. But me personally, it's like, I know this is so far off that I'd rather they had just saved it.
Exactly. That's the thing about Final Fantasy when it showed it. It's like, listen, it's like, cool, great. You can be a super fan of Final Fantasy 7 all you want. That shit is not coming out anytime soon. And I would have bet money at the time 2017 would have been the earliest we would have seen it because that's the 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
So I would have thought they would have had something, especially once they said that it was going to be episodic in nature. I would have thought for sure they would have had something out by now, even if it's the first episode, a demo, something, you know, to kind of take advantage of the fact that it's the 20th anniversary, but nothing.
Probably not even going to be on the PS4.
Right. You know, it's like they're like, yo, listen, it's like in the next 3 years, which means nothing because like if you're going to announce it 2 years ago and then like 2 years later say, yeah, within the next 3 years we'll do it. It's like I think about Kingdom Hearts, which has been in development for like 8 years. So like, yeah, I don't think you're going to have anything out anytime soon that's related to that shit.
Last Guardian.
Right. Which again did nothing for me either. Fucking ugly bird thing.
I love that creature. So we're not seeing anything on The Last Guardian, no expansions for that. Oh, you don't want to see it, rather. I should better ask, because we're definitely not getting no expansion for it. Anything, so go back to Final Fantasy. You think we'll see anything? You want to see
Well, what
anything?
they showed, now at this point, they fucked up, and Amazon, I think, put up a trailer for it early, and they listed
really?
it. Was Final Fantasy Dissidia NT.
Oh, that, yeah.
And then they came out and they're like, yeah, fuck it, and they just put the trailer out. I never really was into Dissidia. You know, I tried to play it on the PSP, and it was a fighting game that never really did anything for me. And then I look at this one, and I'm like, it's got all this UI shit that is confusing.
Yeah, that's the thing with that. It's so numbers flying everywhere, and lines, and just the design is
Like,
just
what is happening?
I mean, the first game, I thought it looked cool. You know, I'm not a fan of Final Fantasy, but I can understand the appeal of it.
It was super cool to see a crossover of the different worlds and to see some of these characters you only seen as like sprites brought into like 3D representations. I thought that was super cool.
It's a very novel idea.
But that was also kind of where it stopped for me. It was like, oh, cool. And like you're seeing like these characters interact with one another. And then that's kind of like where it kind of, everything past that playing it sucked. So I was like, all right, whatever.
Personally, I'm fine with Dissidia seeing a console release because it hasn't had one yet. So I'm looking forward to how that game is going to shape up, what characters it's going to have, if there's going to be any post-launch support, and mostly what the reception is going to be for Final Fantasy fans. If it's going to have legs and it's going to be received well, how the mechanics are going to shape out.
Right.
I'm looking forward to all of it as an outsider because I'm not necessarily a fan of Final Fantasy. I'm a fan of like the franchise as an outsider.
Right.
But more than that, not really. So
now, what I actually forgot with this game too, and I don't think they did for the other ones, is Ninja Theory is working on this one, and I think the other ones were Square in-house. Like I think that they were like I'm not. Don't quote me on it. I'm not too sure of the team for the other ones, but Ninja Theory is making this one. Gets me a little bit more excited because they have some experience in making action type games. So I think that alone can kind of be a very exciting thing that would be making me be a little bit more interested into it.
Okay.
That combined too with like I think that they've shown they're gonna have Noctis and some of those newer characters. I want to say that the original game, and then they came out with Dissidia 012, and I think that like the original game only had 8 characters, and then 12 had 12. So like I don't know how many characters are gonna be in this one, but like I think that more characters means a bigger roster, and that can make things a little bit more interesting as well. Yeah. So there's certainly things that I think you have to potentially be interested in a game like this that I'm not necessarily opposed to, but I just know my previous experience was like...
Who knows, maybe this game it'll grab me, I'll play it, and then as a result, maybe I'll get into Final Fantasy. Like
That's
maybe,
true.
Like you see with Smash and those characters.
That is true. Yeah. Could go either way. It's definitely an announcement that I wasn't expecting to, It's also one where it's like, of course, Final Fantasy 7 won't be out anytime soon, but this weird spin-off fighting game will, so... Right? Why the hell not?
Take this and shut up.
Yeah, it's
we're
like,
working on the other one.
Fucking, we'll put Cloud in this one. Shut your mouth. Well, Cloud might even been in the. I think Cloud was in the other one. Whatever. Yeah. Now you got Sephiroth. Sephiroth probably in the other one. This one's got Barrett. Shut your mouth. This has new. You have old Cloud and you have new Cloud.
I know who Sephiroth is at least.
He's the one-winged angel.
Is that the other guy who said Baron? What?
Barrett.
Barrett? Was that from
That's the black dude with the gun.
I was saying Final Fantasy VII.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
As
far as another Sony IP that I personally want to see,
right?
Spider-Man.
Of course. That
trailer got me so hyped.
Yep.
Spider-Man is one of my probably top 3 superheroes. Probably like, what is it? We'll go Spawn. Spawn might be kind of cheating because he's a superhero. Let's not even go that far. Let's not say it's cheating. Spawn is legit.
Yep.
If you don't know who Spawn is, look him up. Let's go. Spawn, Spider-Man, Batman. Probably my top 3. Spider-Man, I'm so hyped for. It's been a while since we've seen a Spider-Man game, let alone one that was like knock it out of the park good.
I hope so, right? It still could go. Like, it looks nice, but we don't know anything about it, right? It has pedigree in terms of the team behind it.
Yeah, and if you look at Insomniac's previous game, Sunset Overdrive, the movement mechanics, I love it.
Yeah.
I love that you're versing the city, but you apply.
So into the game, though.
Well, that aside, how'd you like the control of it? Because you figure they'll probably take what they learned from that game, apply it to Spider-Man. Because I just loved web slinging the first time from even like the Super Nintendo days. Maximum Carnage, let's go.
Well, this is the thing, I think Maximum Carnage still holds up to this day. I would play that game. But when I think of Spider-Man, and I think of like the definitive Spider-Man experience, I think of Spider-Man 2.
2?
Yep. Then I had the web slinging.
A lot of people would say it probably is the best game.
And this game...
Although that doesn't really hold up too well these days, I think.
I still find it fun to swing around. Like,
this web slinging is fun, for sure. Yeah.
And I feel like if they can capture that at least, and if it was like a pretty version of that, that alone would make me content. Yeah. Like, I want to be able to like kind of swing around and have that be fluid and have that be a fun experience in and of itself. Yeah. And if they can provide that, then I'm good. Like, that's base level of what I need, to be honest.
I just loved everything they've done with web slinging in all the Spider-Man games, whether it's like the web zip or even like in the Amazing Spider-Man games, how they had like that weird slow motion where you can like web shoot to a location. That was okay, but I'd rather have it going back to basics where it's more just real time, no slowdown. I loved what they showed so far. Who knows how much of that is in game? Right. Because it looks really impressive. Like him jumping through the diner or restaurant or whatever and jumping through the glass, the window, the mirror or whatnot. There's a lot of shit going on in that game where it's hard to think that if this game is going to have live gameplay like that, then I'm thinking we're going to be in for an amazing Spider-Man game. Hopefully.
Oh, I see what you did there. Spectacular.
Like it, right? Yeah. that was totally natural too, They call me FUNKNOWN.
That's how it is. Ooh.
Oh, shit.
Shit.
But
that's the end of this episode. We'll talk to you all next week.
But as far as like Spider-Man games that I love, it's Web of Shadows and Ultimate Spider-Man would be out there.
Which one's Web of Shadows?
The one where Venom takes over the city, all the symbiotes. And then,
what system was it on?
360 generation PS3. With all that's when Anti-Venom was was a character, the White Venom, and then they had like the White Venom enemies. Okay. And then they had a bunch of Marvel characters that they usually do. Right. The combat was really cool in that game. The upgrades and the differences between regular Spider-Man and the symbiote. Going to Ultimate Spider-Man, I loved the switching between Spider-Man and Venom. Right. Controlling Venom, like you can absorb people. Just regular civilians and get health from them. That was really cool. And controlling him felt like Hulk Ultimate Destruction, which is really cool. Jumping really high. Nice. Latching onto buildings.
Hulk Ultimate Destruction was a dope game.
It was cool. Definitely cool.
Definitely cool. I wonder if it holds up, but it definitely for the time was very cool.
Yeah. Other Spider-Man games like Shattered Dimensions I thought was cool. The 4 different Spider-Mans.
Those 4 Spider-Mans was weird.
It was weird, but I love the concept of it. They each felt different, And they was contained environments. Yeah. So it's been a while since we've seen an open world Spider-Man game.
That's true.
So Oh man, there's so much I'm looking forward to with this game. I don't
Have
know.
they
You take it
said-
away. What are you looking forward to? Because I can talk about Spider-Man.
Well, I wanted to ask you about Spider-Man. Like, have they said anything about what it is in terms of like story and stuff? Like, does it have anything to do with the movies?
Nothing to do with the movies. It's its
Okay.
own thing. It's not going to be part of the MCU.
Okay.
But as far as like details of what the story's going to be about, we don't know. We don't know anything other than that.
I'm interested in seeing where it goes. I'm interested in seeing where to take it for sure. You know,
wanna see
I
the
definitely want to
enemies.
see that. You know, like we only saw the trailer. I want to see what it is. I'm hoping it's something that comes out this year. You know, with God of War rumored to not come out till 2018, Spider-Man would be a good game to have to kind of hang your holiday hat on. I think it would be a big enough deal. Kind of come out with like a good Spider-Man game if you could pull that off.
Yeah.
I think that would be significant. Or even if you came out, like, you know, I guess if you did a summer thing or whatever. I mean, whatever. I would just like to see that game out soon. I think I'd be kind of excited for that.
Yeah. I mean, it could be possibly soon if the Sunset Overdrive team was all hands on deck for this game. And that was like, what, 2 years ago or whenever it came out?
Yeah.
But I'm a little doubtful that'll be this year.
Yeah.
I could see it next year. But as far as confirmation that it'll be at E3, I'm just looking. That's probably the biggest thing I'm looking forward to from Sony's conference. Personally.
I feel that. Yeah. To kind of take that tack and kind of go into like a similar like comic book style direction. So I don't know if they're going to have this or not, but like Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and I can imagine them trotting out like Ono and whatever other fighting game people they have working on this game. And I can imagine them showing like some stuff off on that. But at the same time too, like if they're going to come out with games, there's going to be trailers and the game's coming out in September. Maybe not. You know, I don't know. But like you feel like you might have something to do with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, some stuff to show with that. Some like
Sony conference?
Yeah.
I can see that. Capcom's not having a conference of their own, so
No, but I also don't think that like Marvel vs. Capcom is gonna have any like Sony exclusives. Whereas
Right.
I feel like if they were to trot out Ono and stuff, it would be for a Street Fighter V, which is tertiary to a thing I was gonna bring up after. But there is rumor that they're gonna come out with Super Street Fighter V.
right? And it'll be a
And-
free upgrade for people who own it.
Yeah, as well as making these season styles be a little bit more, you know, more faster paced in terms of release and stuff like that, and you're gonna have more characters that people had kind of wanted, but also when I saw that character list, it seemed like a pipe dream, so I don't believe it at all. So it's like this weird position to be in.
Speaking of character list,
Yeah,
going back to Marvel,
yeah,
because you know that game is going to be at some conference. I'd imagine.
I think it
would
has to be
Yeah,
right, but I don't know.
It would be a cool announcement to show that, because the elephant in the room is the X-Men characters.
Right.
So if they come out and they're just transparent about it, saying, "Look, you all know we have issues with licensing right now. Well, we're trying to get X-Men, hopefully post-launch,
Well,
because that leaked roster list wasn't doing the game any justice."
well, that's the also part of the
League.
leaked roster list is they also had the plans for the DLC. And the DLC was that there's going to have the first one, which is going to be like a, what was it, Darkstalkers versus, was it like a Fantastic Four?
Really,
And
I
then
didn't hear anything of this.
Yeah, so they had like some kind of like list from what they're supposed to be doing for that for like DLC seasons post the fact. So it's supposed to be a like, you know, they have the original 9 that they're gonna do, and then they're gonna be like themed ones. So it's supposed to be like Darkstalkers versus Fantastic Four, with the Fantastic Four characters not actually being any of the Fantastic Four, but being Doom, Silver Surfer, and I think Skrull. And then the one that was gonna come out after that, it's gonna be like an X-Men versus Street Fighter one. So it's gonna have more of the old school like Street Fighter
See,
characters.
they do something
that are
like
missing.
that. Would be. I think that would be cool.
It would and it wouldn't, because it would be something where, so like what they're supposed to be doing is supposed to be getting more seasons out. So it's supposed to be that like seasons, but they're actual seasons, like, you know, winter, fall, that sort of thing. So in a year, you're supposed to be able to get 4 seasons. So it means that by the end of like by next summer or whatever, we would see the first Darkstalkers cross thing, right?
Yeah.
But it would also be something where like you'd have to go a full year to get that content. And like when you're looking at what this thing has already.
You talk about the base roster?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like you'd be looking at this base roster, which is not very exciting to start off with. And then a year later, you'd get characters that I think should have been in there in the first place. You know, when I think of Marvel vs. Capcom, I think of Doom, I think of Storm, I think of Sentinel, I think of Magneto, I think of Wolverine,
baby.
And I think of all these characters that are not able to be in there by virtue of like marketing bullshit with the MCU.
The licensing deals are crazy.
You know, it's fucking bullshit that it would like undermine.
I mean,
the game
now they
so
even
much.
started back out of the Spider-Man shit with MCU, which is a damn shame.
Which is crazy.
Iron Man's gonna be in his movie. It's like, oh, let's sell this Spider-Man movie by telling everybody Iron Man's in it.
I don't know what they're doing with that. That makes no sense to me.
And then the Venom thing is detached from Spider-Man. The rumors of that is. Well, not even rumors, actually, because I think they've confirmed as much, right?
I think Tom Hardy's supposed to be it, yeah.
They told us about Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's crazy.
It's very confusing, too.
Spider-Man.
You know?
Spider-Man, let's go. What are you doing?
Yeah, you know, but like, to me, it's one of those things where it's like, you have to kind of be a little more consumer friendly with those things, like come together with that. Like, you can't just be like, all right, so let's put Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and like remove him. Like, why make that deal in the first place? Why do it? Like, why, like, at that point, then, like, hey, you're just gonna write them off or whatever? Like, it's weird. You can't really do that.
Yeah.
And similar with this, you have this game that was, like, entrenched in X-Men versus Street Fighter, and now you have none of the X-Men characters in there, so it's like, it makes zero sense to even have this crossover, you know? And then, like, when you have this roster of characters that are so, like, you know, reused assets and models, to get a year later, and it's like, you know, it's the problem that comes, too, with, like, even Super Street Fighter 5, so it's like kind of like collapse these two things.
It's Capcom that's making this game, so they're going into it with the history of what happened with Street Fighter in that launch.
Exactly, and that's also like, so it's two parts, right? After Street Fighter 5, it's hard to really trust them to really kind of get this stuff right. But then the second one is that like with Street Fighter 5, like they announced like, it's like, oh, so you're gonna have like Super Street Fighter 5, and you're gonna get characters like Sagat, and you're gonna get characters like Rose or Sakura, and you're gonna get Q and Steve Viper and all that stuff. And it's like, cool, but also at the same time too, like, I don't really trust that's gonna happen. But how long did I go without Sagat, who's like from the fucking original game? I still don't have Blanca, there's no E Honda, you know, like a lot of these characters that are like mainstays of the series still aren't represented in it. So like, that's 2 years out from this fucking game being out. So now we're a year out from Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and we're gonna get what? We're gonna get like these characters that should have been in the first place. Like, when are we gonna get new characters? Like, if the DLC roster is me giving you now these characters that are like old hat to you, like, what's the point? You know, it's the problem that they're having now with even this newer season of Street Fighter 5, where it's like this entire DLC set they're having for the second season is all new characters. So like characters that you've never been able to play as before.
And in some respect, you can respect. In some respects, you respect. But anyway, you can respect them as a developer wanting to add new characters to the mix.
Right.
But on some level, it's like, it's just tough for a long-standing franchise like that, where you have characters like E Honda, like you said, and Sagat not in the game.
You have to mix them. Yeah. You know, like the smart thing to do is you do 3 and 3. It's like you put like,
that'd be like cutting Captain Falcon or Jigglypuff from the next Smash Brothers.
Right. Or like selling them to you later on. It's like, well, it's like such a weird choice.
Although it happened to Mewtwo. Maybe might happen to Ice Climbers.
I guess. Well,
we'll
save that, I guess. Right? But what I think what makes it like weird is it's like, you know, I can feel pretty good buying a character like Colleen. Like, I don't really know them, or like Ed, but like he's new and he's like kind of exciting, and like it's a new addition to the roster, and it is what it is. But then you look at something like, well, it's like, how much am I going to spend on Sagat? I mean, on one hand, he's Sagat, but on the other hand, it's like, fucking Sagat should already be in this. So, like, it becomes this deal where, like, you have to entice someone with, like, you know, the benefits of the old character, them being someone you know and someone you enjoy and someone that's kind of a mainstay, and then the benefits of the new characters. And if you combine a season with 3 and 3, it just makes more sense to make something that someone would want to purchase, I think. Mm-hmm. But if you come out with something that's going to be, here's 6 characters that are all characters you already know. And when you think about what their moveset's going to be, they're not going to be much different from what they are. Because the reason they're even coming out with these things and they're positioning them is because, like, it's like we know that we can't come out with this game without having fucking Wolverine in it. But you're not going to totally revamp his moveset. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't imagine he's going to be much different than he would from Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So it's just going to be, now I get the benefit of giving them fucking $5.
You're paying now for what you thought should have been there at launch.
Exactly.
No, I hear that.
So, like, and Capcom's kind of thrown away a lot of goodwill for that shit. So, you know, it remains to be seen how it goes and what ends up happening, or if any of those leaks are real, you know, they could all be false.
You think there's any chance of a Super Street Fighter not being exclusive? Since it's technically
Nah, because I think
different thing?
Sony's like half so invested into it. I mean, I wouldn't be against it if it was, because maybe having like a wider audience or some capacity, or that, like maybe something involving not being beholden to one system is gonna like maybe make them have to like care about it more. But I also doubt it. I feel like the only reason, like, and they kind of said it when they came out, was like the only reason we were able to make 5 is because
The money
we
that
worked
Sony
with
put
that and
behind
they
it.
got the money from Sony.
Right.
So like if they're that under budget and no one's giving them exclusivity money, then I don't think that they're gonna actually be able to make shit. I think just the bigger problem is just that Street Fighter V coming out with Super is like a good step towards fixing things, but the biggest step needs to be Capcom being competent. And I don't really trust that they are anymore, because they haven't really shown that with the fighting games, at least. You know, I also question some of the decisions they make with some other stuff, like in regards to like Mega Man. They announced the Mega Man Legacy Collection 2, and that's coming out, I think, in
That's going to be
August.
9, 10, right?
7, 8, 9, to
7.
10,
Okay.
which is a weird choice, because I feel like, and I saw this coming when they did it, and they came out with the Legacy Collection. You had Digital Eclipse make it, and they made these arcade perfect, like these perfect emulation versions of the 1 through 6, right? And the backlash was like, well, why not just come out with all 10? It's like, well, you know they're going to probably wind up selling it to you later on. You can make excuses of it being like, well, these are the first 6, and they were on the NES, the one with the Super Nintendo, PSX, and then these, 360 era style games, right?
Yeah.
So you can make an argument about differentiating them between that. But then at the same time, too, you wind up with a situation where it's been, what? I guess 2 years, right? So, I mean,
Since
I guess
the
some
Legacy
time has
Collection
period.
came out, right?
Yeah, so I guess some time has passed, but it's like I would have rather just preferred they just put them all in one.
Yeah.
And to me, I think the bigger problem
Same thought
is
I had
that,
when they announced it.
right,
Just update the first one, if anything.
it's also only 4 of them.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go to bat for Mega Man and Base. Like, I think Mega Man and Base sucks. I think it's a bad game. But if you're going to charge me $20, fucking toss Mega Man Base on there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's the least you can do, and I think that would have been like a nice addition to have. Like, it's not a good game, but fucking put it on there, And like, when I think about the Anniversary Collection too, Anniversary Collection had like Mega Man Battle and Chase and shit like that. It's like, you know what? Like, fucking make the Legacy Collection more than just a Super NES ROM or a PSX ROM, and then like the port work of putting 9 and 10 on there. Like, I mean, I'm sure work went into it, don't get me wrong, but I feel like there's more they can do than just be like, here's 4 games. I think they could do more than that.
I like the idea of them having just one home, a hub for Mega Man, that they should have just added onto it. $20 for those just 4 games.
Right.
Seems kind of steep.
Right. It's also a situation where 2 things. One of the things that made the Legacy Collection interesting was that a lot of those games came from the NES, right? Mm-hmm. And that time period of the NES was that there was a lot of history that wasn't really known. They have the whole museum in the game, and I think they have the museum still in this one, but the museum had like all these unused characters and enemies and designs and stuff. And that's not something that you can really have so much in the Super Nintendo PlayStation era. Especially just because the only ones that are of that are 7 and 8. Like, I mean, I guess there's something to be said for like what they can have for unused characters for 9 and 10, maybe. But like, I think that there's more of that cut content for those first 6, because that's the style of the time, like you had more stuff that you were kind of producing and making. Yeah. I think by the time you get into these later games, you were kind of a little bit more streamlined and stuff, so you wouldn't really have necessarily all of that. Well, I feel like more of that is stuff that we know of at this point. Like, I think it was something interesting because you were exploring and you were finding out information about like those old school Mega Man games that you knew as a kid. But then you get this one, it's like, well, what do I really not know about 9 and 10? Like, I'm curious to see what they could do for the museum. Yeah. But I think that it's just not going to hold a candle to what you can do for the original 6. And the other one was the way that they were kind of promoting it was that Capcom was putting up pictures of Mega Man X on their Twitter account to be like, news coming. And then they come out with Legacy Collection 2. So, hey, maybe there is some news that hasn't been announced yet about like a X collection.
So it was a buzzkill then for you.
Yeah, because it's like, oh man, he's gonna be like a new collection of like maybe X games or a new X game, something like that. And then it ends up just being here's 7, 8, 9, and 10. Those are pretty good games, I guess, but also no. I'm a big Mega Man fan. Like, I like Mega Man a lot.
I saw you playing Mega Man 9 the other day.
Yep. And I was trying, man. Here's the thing. So Mega Man 7 is pretty good, I think. I think the sprites are too big, and I think that it's a time where, like, the fact that you can make big sprites was, like, a selling point. And I think Capcom, like, made these sprites, so Mega Man looks weird. But I think it has a lot of, like, really cool stuff you can do, especially in terms of, like, use of weapons and stuff you get, and using them in the actual, like, stages and stuff to do stuff in the background. 8, I think, is not bad per se, but has very bad parts, has a very bad English translation, and has stuff like the in the snow stage where you're doing like the little ski type thing and you had to jump on the snowboard. There's a lot of boarding parts between this and in one of the Wily stages that are abysmal, and you have to jump, and while you're doing it you hear this robotic voice because of the dub was going jump, 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 slide, slide, and it's just like this really annoying parts.
I can imagine that being real grating on replays.
Right. It's very frustrating and very annoying to hear, and like the controls for the time weren't that great. So you move on to 9 and 10. There's a divide in Mega Man fans between, or the constant refrain to hear is like, what are you, 2 or 3? Like, which game do you like better, Mega Man 2 or 3? And I always say neither. Because if you ask me, my personal favorite would probably be 4 or 5. Like, I think that the series is something that's been constantly growing. And I feel like there's been adding a lot of additions in it. And I feel like once you got to 4, then it was just a refinement process, I think. And I think that 4 is the one that kind of added stuff. A lot of people just don't like the Buster. They don't want it in there. And when you get into a game like 9 and 10, which is something that was like very firmly in the Mega Man 2 style, and I think that it is worse off for that, because there are advancements that were made from 3 when you can do something like slide. You don't have the ability to slide anymore in 9. So like you go in this weird direction where for 8 games you can slide, and all of a sudden you have this main mobility feature stripped away from you. And you don't have the ability to charge shot, and the game kind of plays fast and loose with doing like just straight up one-shot bullshit kills. So you have to do a lot of pattern recognition that makes the game feel very unfair at points. 10 I feel is a lot better about that, but in the whole I feel like 9 and 10 are like returns to form that were not quite returns to form, but they were treated.
So you want to see something that... What are you saying? You want to see a new Mega Man?
I wouldn't mind seeing a new Mega Man, but I want it to be something set in the 4 style. But when I think about the Legacy Collection, I see a collection of 4 games, of which maybe 1 is one that I think is a game that I would say feel confident in saying is good.
Yeah.
Like, you know, not to necessarily shit on, like I said, 9 and 10.
This is your personal
preference
for Mega Man, you know, your hopes and dreams for the franchise.
Right, you know, it's like...
I'm sure there's going to be hate for sure out there for
it's the common consensus, you know, people are always like 2 or 3, and like, it's like I said, I feel like 4 is like, it's a series that's been constantly improving. 4 is then they hit the high mark, and then it was just a refinement process. And I feel like the Mega Buster adds a lot, and the loss of the Mega Buster takes away, loss of the Mega Buster and the slide. They tried to eventually course correct some of this stuff where they eventually came out with DLC and you could play as like Proto Man and Bass and stuff. Was it Bass? I think it was Bass in 10. Whatever. But you could play as Proto Man at least. And you got like the shield, and you had like the ability to slide and stuff like that. But I'm playing a Mega Man game, won't play as Mega Man. You know? Like, I don't really want to play as Proto Man. Like, it's cool to do it as a separate thing, or for like a second challenge or whatever, or like a second replay or something. But first time I play that game, I'm looking to really play as Mega Man, and like I want Mega Man to have a full feature set, you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I lie with the Legacy Collection, which is a real big digression, because I don't think they're going to really announce any of that stuff in E3, because I think they showed it. But
hey, it's all the passion. You let it out.
Well, it is what it is, right?
Let it flow.
But back to Sony and stuff that we think they're going to show, or stuff we want to see. So we talked about Spider-Man, we talked about God of War.
Talked about some Street Fighter, some Marvel.
Mm-hmm. Some of those possibilities of stuff they'll have.
Yeah.
They came out and they said there's gonna be a lot of games, and they're gonna try to emulate last year's style of show, where it's
gonna
like
be an
games
hour,
back
right?
and back. Yes, as far as I know.
So we haven't mentioned Days Gone yet.
Yeah, which I don't.
It wasn't really doing much for me.
Yeah,
but it has to do something to distinguish itself from the plethora of zombie games that we have.
very much.
Because what they showed, it just looked like your standard run-of-the-mill zombie horde coming at you that just all they do is brain dead, just charge forward at you. I mean, it's cool that they have such large quantities of zombies on screen, but what more is there? Because the environment aspect to it, where you can like set traps and what have you, and then there's going to be crafting apparently and messing with your motorcycle. Like the motorcycle, they said is going to be an integral part of the game. But I feel like that stuff they need to focus on with this this E3, and less so what they did last. Because apparently behind closed doors last E3 they showed more of this stuff.
Yeah.
We never got to see it publicly, like the motorcycle elements. But I'm just hoping, because right now I'm not interested in that game. So
Yeah, me either.
maybe they'll do something for me after this E3, but I'm not expecting it.
Did they like announced Last of Us 2, right?
The Last of Us 2, yeah.
Yeah, think they'll show that?
Nah. They'll probably show, well, I was going to bring up the Uncharted DLC.
Yeah, I think that has to be there, because that's definitely out this year, right?
Yeah. I would expect it.
It's a weird thing though, because like most of the stuff we've talked about is stuff that we are again known quantities. So like it's still like speculation. The only speculation we've really done is like Marvel vs. Capcom Super Street Fighter 5.
Yeah.
For the most part, it's like we really kind of want to see what these things are that we've seen before. I mean, we talked about before how we saw these things in advance. It's all come to fruition, but like it is an interesting thing to think about when we think about something like Microsoft. We were speculating about like wanting to see Banjo-Kazooie and stuff like that, but like what is it that we want to see from Sony is kind of, again, just I want to see all those things that we were shown
Let's
originally.
see if they could surprise us this year again.
You know, I'm hoping.
Who knows? Because going back to The Last of Us and Days Gone, those are very similar, I feel, in tone. You got the Naughty Dog, wow, I can't believe I'm forgetting. The tickers.
Yeah.
And then you have the zombies, and it's like they're kind of similar. Like it kind of felt like that could have been our Last of Us game before they said Days Gone. But then you have Last of Us 2 coming out, so you imagine Last of Us at the earliest would be next year. But I can't see that. So as far as like, I feel like it's gonna Days Gone, if they have if it has legs to it, it kind of cannibalizes like the hype for Last of Us 2, in my opinion.
That's true.
Although I'm sure others will argue otherwise, because Last of Us is a very beloved game.
But also, I guess I could see Last of Us being like, let's say they come out with Days Gone end of this year. I can see Last of Us 2 being the end of next year.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's a big enough game.
I mean, I
can
can
probably
see it,
sell it in October.
But
so
it was only just announced last year. So really, that's only 2 years. Can they turn a sequel over in 2 years like that? Because they're going to be, Naughty Dog's still going to be supporting Uncharted with...
I mean, they say so much, but you come out with the DLC you're coming out with, and I think that's kind of it. Like, I feel like they have support for that.
No, I'm talking about the new Uncharted thing that they expand the law. What is it called? The thing with who's the thing they showed last year for Uncharted?
Well, it's the DLC, isn't it?
Oh, I thought you were talking about, because they're still supporting Uncharted DLC as far as like multiplayer and
right.
So I thought they were talking about, because if they're gonna still be supporting Uncharted itself, Uncharted 4, but then they're also coming out with this DLC. How much resources do they really have for a Last of Us sequel?
I guess I feel like the DLC is probably gonna be B Team.
Yeah.
Like none of the DLC really excites me. I don't think it seems like it's that interesting. I enjoyed
how
4.
expansive that DLC is gonna be.
Right. And how it actually plays, and playing as these non-Drake characters and seeing how that goes.
Non-Drake.
You know.
Mandrake.
It could go either way, I guess, right? Like, I'm not gonna, I hope it's good, but.
Yeah.
Weird choice, I guess, too, for them to not just go the natural route and follow on 4 for the DLC. I mean, I'm not gonna spoil it, but, like...
Yeah, don't drop us, spoilers.
Ends in a position in which I feel like that would be where they would go for DLC. But maybe they're just waiting to save that for a future Uncharted 5, whatever. Who knows?
So,
anything else with Sony?
Nothing really. Although I would. Here's a pipe dream. And I know the first game was hot garbage, in my opinion. But that doesn't mean a sequel can't improve upon it. PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale 2. But this time, the gameplay isn't shit. All right? And if you like the first game, okay, you can have that opinion. But I'm telling you right now, if that game was modeled more exactly to what Smash's formula is, I think it would have been way more successful.
I think for sure.
But
also,
But I told you, it's a pipe dream. It's not going to happen, but still.
It might and it might not. Like, it's the rumor you've been hearing for years, you know?
Really?
Right?
There's a rumor for that?
For sure. I've been hearing PSA rumors, PSA 2 rumors for a long time. Even this year, I saw, like, someone that definitely seemed fake. It was, like, a poster that had, like, the Alloy from Horizon and, like, 2 other people I don't remember in the background and shit. Like, you know, it's got a dedicated fan base, that game, for sure. That, I don't understand, because that gameplay is whack. But, the problem with that game continues to be just that, like, you know, when you look at the franchise characters, it's like most of them are third-party people. And they weren't the ones you wanted.
Yeah, but even so, if the gameplay was sound, I think it would have been fine.
I think so. I think it would have been definitely better.
The character roster's not doing it any favors.
I would have enjoyed it, but the character roster garnered no excitement.
How are you not going to have Crash? You know?
Yeah.
Crash, Spyro.
Well, how do you not have Crash? How do you have fucking Big Daddy from BioShock, a game that was like originally an Xbox exclusive? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how is that something that
I'm okay with that.
Put in there? It's just like when I think of PlayStation, I don't like. It's just not what I think of.
You don't associate it with that franchise,
right? You know, like it's a lot of that sort of thing for what was in that game that kind of made it really strange. But I agree that I think that if they were to copy off the actual gameplay and like
stocks and ring outs,
right? You know, but instead of it being like his finish and move type deal, but
any pipe dreams you have?
I was gonna say, and actually it kind of brings up something before. You know, have you heard of the Kickstarter for Project Rap Rabbit?
Yeah.
So I can imagine that being something they really show off. But also, I was thinking just like a Parappa 3. You know, it's one of those situations where you have
Project that would have to come out first.
Yeah.
Before anything Parappa.
Well, Project Rap Rabbit's weird because it's different enough, but also it seems like that's kind of the direction a Parappa should go. And then also when they came out with the Parappa 20th anniversary collection, whatever, earlier this year, you kind of realize maybe Parappa wasn't that good. Like, I love the concept of Parappa, but playing it sucked. And like, just having new songs, and like, it would not be enough.
Well, the heavy words right there.
Yeah, it's
Parappa
the truth,
fans,
man.
them cry.
Hey, you know, I love Parappa, man. Kick Punch is all in the mind.
Maybe they'll, maybe somehow they'll include Parappa, his character, in the game.
That would be pretty cool.
You know, show him coming back in some form, and then in the future entry, maybe there's enough like murmurings of people wanting to. Oh, where's Parappa? Come on, bring it back.
I feel like
was cool.
There's been murmurings of that for a while, and I wonder why they would come out with a 20th anniversary version of the game if they weren't testing the waters to see if people were actually interested in Parappa.
Yeah.
But then I feel like the numbers may borne out that, like, yeah, for sure, people actually like bought it. But then I feel like the impact for most people is that the game was not what they remembered it being. Because it's just the rhythm, and being such an early rhythm-based game, it's just poor. And it's like off, and it's timed hard. And it doesn't make sense, and the game doesn't provide you with much feedback in terms of why you're rapping cool or you're rapping bad. So like, it seems very arbitrary, and like, you feel like you're doing good, but all of a sudden you're rapping bad, and it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. And
yeah,
like,
there's a lot of improvements they can make to the
for sure.
games.
And that's something they can maybe do for 3, but then I look at Rap Rabbit, and it seems like it's like taking that concept and actually bringing it forward. So like, whereas like 3 can maybe refine it and modernize it, maybe this one seems to kind of be like taking the concept and actually doing something unique with it, which is what I would rather see as opposed to like a Parappa 3, which is just same thing, but like it works now on modern TVs, you know? So I'm kind of torn about Parappa. It's like, I would want to see it, but also maybe I don't.
You know what might be cool? A first-person rhythm shooter, Parappa the Rapper.
Rhythm shooter.
Yeah, that'd be kind of crazy. You know, you gotta drop these beats, and then That's how you
gotta believe someone.
You can only get criticals if you hit those notes.
Mm-hmm.
All the characters are paper cutouts. There's something there.
Shit, why the hell not, right? Fuck. Yeah, why the hell not? Just dropping beats and you shooting someone with them. Kick punch, it's all in the mind, or shoot, reload, it's all in the handgun.
Remember South Park 64?
Yes.
I'm saying.
Snowballs?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Lemon snowballs, let's go.
This is the year they're going to bring SOCOM back. MAG 2.
Think so?
Nope. But I mean, honestly, listen, the concept of MAG was pretty good in terms of having, 100 and something?
No, I'm talking about SOCOM. MAG is dead. SOCOM is essentially dead too. But.
Yeah, but I feel like MAG was kind of like the successor to SOCOM. If you're going to come out with a SOCOM, maybe you use it because the name has more cachet than MAG, which is just a dead failure of a game.
In order to be true to SOCOM too, it's like that gameplay is stuck in those times.
Right.
Well, it'd be hard to translate that to a modern era with the...
It would, but also like I feel like that's why it would be unique. Also, I
would totally not be against it.
Yeah.
But as far as like... They would have to be smart with the budget then in that case. Because you want to be true to the originals and what people loved about those games. But you gotta, bring something fresh to it.
Maybe what they do is like, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds and like those style of games, they take the SOCOM setting and they merge it with that style of game. And they create some sort of a unique modern style SOCOM game for that.
All these hot ideas we're dropping in this episode.
Just giving them for free, man.
Just let us know, PM us, drop us an email or something.
We got plenty of them.
We got ideas for days.
We got lists. We come correct.
So anything else for PlayStation conference?
I think that's it for Sony. I'm excited to see what they have to say. Seeing if they have any other VR stuff actually would be kind of cool because VR's sat there for months and not done anything for me. But I'm interested in seeing if they're actually going to support it or if it's basically dead in the water. They had some interviews recently where they were out touting how proud they are of it selling like 1 million.
They broke 1 million.
Yeah, and cool. But like the last big game was Farpoint, and that sucked. And now I don't really know what else is on the horizon for VR. So hopefully they got something, and it's not just gonna be another peripheral that they sold for a couple $100 that's then gonna wind up being unsupported.
I want to see more VR, but I don't.
Yep, I feel you entirely, and that's kind of it. It's the position you're in. But like, I spent the money on it, and like, it was just if it ends up being something where it's like, we're done with VR. It's like, cool, thanks, Sony. I'm glad I gave you money for this headset that's now gonna do nothing for me. I should have expected that, right? I don't know.
Yeah,
but that's it for Sony.
Yeah, that wraps that up.
So following Sony, we then have Nintendo, which is the last press conference. Now, I'm not sure what's going on.
Last that we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah. Or is it technically after the PC conference?
Yes, the PC conference was actually, and the Devolver Digital, which you kind of skipped over because they're smaller, would be between Bethesda and
Facts don't matter.
I hear that. But Nintendo's the last one because then right after that the show floor opens.
Again, let's plug it. That other video,
right.
Some hot Mario Kart gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Might want to check that out. We go into E3 predictions. We talk about the ARMS test punch.
Yep.
And
some of the hopes and dreams we had for that stuff, But an interesting thing about Nintendo that we didn't really realize at the time too, before we talk a little bit more about it, I guess, is that it lists on the website for like the time for the period of like when they're going to have the direct and stuff as being at 9:00. So that's going to be for us 12:00, right?
Yeah.
And then
it's only going to be a half an hour, right?
It lists the Treehouse Live is starting at 9:30. So it looks like the actual direct, what would consist of the press conference, is only going to be half an hour. So I wonder what that's going to really be in that.
Well, let's go over what we're expected to see and realistically what we can see based on how much time can be in that, how much they can show within that 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Mario Odyssey. They've already said they're going to have a blowout for that.
Right. But that's the thing too, is like, so we know they're gonna have a blowout, but is that gonna be part of the 30 minutes? Because if I think about the way that
you imagine they have a demo at Treehouse Live.
Exactly, and to me, it feels like if I were to make this, right, what I would do, if I would like to make the presentation and like plan everything, I would make it so that we have the whole, information, videos, all that stuff, right? And then what I would do is at that 30-minute mark, I would then cut over to the Treehouse Live, and that's when I would do a demo.
That's usually, it seems, that's what they did for the past couple of years.
But you do a trailer and then you go into them. Like I think
you mean Mario specifically?
Yeah, like
no,
because what you would
end with Mario with a bang.
But then you go right into the demo, and you make it so the demo isn't part of the direct itself. You just do a 30-minute demo, because like what I think about is like I think about Zelda, right? Mm-hmm. So if they had for E3 they had the Zelda, you go right to Treehouse Live, the first thing they do is they have the demo of Zelda. Right. So like if you have during the direct you only have 30 minutes, why spend time during that taking 10 minutes out to talk about Mario for 10 minutes? Obviously Mario's a big game, but if you would want to end up like, imagine this, they start off with Mario, they do a whole bunch of gameplay blowout demo and they talk about it for 10 minutes, they talk about other games for 20 minutes, and then you go to Treehouse Live, and then they show you that same exact footage again on Treehouse Live of like gameplay from Mario. Yeah. Like it makes more sense to me. You go about other stuff, you go through all the stuff you want, you end that 30-minute mark on a Mario trailer with a release date, then you go right into the Treehouse Live, and then you have a 30-minute demo. Yeah. That to me makes sense.
A feature-packed trailer,
right?
Showing some nuggets that you won't see in the demo. Mm-hmm. But it'll get you hyped for the greater Mario game at large.
Right. Come out there, you say November 21st.
Drop that date.
Right into the gameplay, people playing it.
Show Yoshi.
Right.
And fucking go right into
Luigi and Wario hanging out.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, that's the way I kind of see that having to go, I think, right? Yeah. Because, like, if I think about it the other way around, it's the only way to make sense of the time. And I think a 30-minute demo for Mario makes sense. I feel like that's going to be like the normal amount of time period they'd give to it on Treehouse Live. Yeah. And you come out there and you have, Miyamoto, and you have Reggie, and you have Bill Trinen out there and whatever, and you have the folks that would be giving you the demo and translating it and stuff on the direct, just out there doing it live. Okay. I think that just makes more sense to me as opposed to any other way. And then that makes it so you have enough time to fit in all the stuff that you need to.
All right, so definitely Mario. Mm-hmm. You figure they'll talk about the 3DS in some capacity?
Well, that's what they've said so far. Is they said that it'll be definitely Mario. You'll definitely see games coming out this year for 3DS and Switch.
Yeah.
So we're in a position for the Switch especially where the Switch was only really announced like 6 months ago, right? And it wasn't that long ago during Direct that they had when they had like the whole actual like, when you think about like the actual unveiling and like they had the Direct where like they were showing the games and stuff. Mm-hmm. And during that Direct, they basically showed the games they were planning on getting between now and the end of the year. So when you think about it, how much more can they really show for the Switch if they're only planning on showing stuff about the year? So like it's something that's exciting, but also maybe a little bit concerning because maybe you pretty much know all the stuff they're going to have, and what they're going to come out is be like, well, we already talked about Fire Emblem Warriors, which says coming out in fall. By the way, it's coming out in October now. It's like, well, maybe see a little bit more footage for Fire Emblem Warriors, and then like it's kind of like, well, cool.
Xenoblade.
Right. Like it's like that's coming out December now. It's like cool, great, but like it was a known quantity. I want to kind of see some new stuff. In the meantime, beforehand, we've gotten announcements of Monster Hunter XX or XX for Japan. And we've gotten Pokken Tournament DX. So we're seeing some of these announcements kind of happen in tertiary. So like we're in a position where it's like, so what are we going to really get? It can kind of go either way in terms of what's happening. And I'm hoping that we don't see retreads of things. Like I think worst case scenario is like, we end up getting like I think when we were talking about the Directs, when we had the video that we plugged, we're playing Mario Kart, check it out on the side. We were talking about how like they'll probably devote some time to ARMS, but like now it makes no sense to devote time to ARMS for only 30 minutes.
Especially if it's going to be there and already with the tournament.
They're going to have the tournament, right? So like hopefully they don't show ARMS at all, unless it's like to show ARMS amiibo or something, right? Or like
maybe
ARMS
they
DLC.
drop a hint as to the first DLC.
Maybe, but I think that's something you do during the tournament.
That would be cool.
Like that's also why, like, again, if I were organizing the stuff and creating it, like they're doing a Splatoon, a ARMS, and a Pokken tournament.
Or maybe a second character dropped at the tournament, like what they did with Smash Wii U before that came out.
Maybe. That's what I was kind of thinking is, I guess kind of, but I'm thinking like build the hype up the whole time. And if you're going to have the tournament, be like, hey, man, you're going to be able to see his tournament, and we're going to have some special announcements about the game. So, like, you can have Splatoon 2, and you can be like, oh, so Splatoon is coming out here, and we're going to have our first update in August, and it's going to be free to you. You know, ARMS is coming out at the end of this week. It's actually out, so on and so forth. But we're going to show you our first set of DLC.
There'll probably be something.
You know,
like less than
I think of, like, the Nintendo World Championships they did a couple years back. And I think that when I think of that, like, that's when you go and, like, use that same style of, like, let's show Blast Ball and, like, use that to show a game, you know, that style of thing.
Yeah.
It makes more sense to do it during a tournament. You have people kind of hyped and excited. But, again, like, that's kind of the smart play is, like, that's what I'm hoping. But, like, as if they show it during that 30 minutes, it makes it disappointing. You know?
You think they'll show Pokken? I imagine that's another one where it's like they've already announced it beforehand.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't personally want it there, other than maybe just a mention. I can't imagine that being more than like a minute.
I think at most, because like the reason you have like an 8-minute direct for it is like, and generally Pokemon Company does like announcements outside of E3.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll devote too much time to it. I think it would just be part of like a trail to sizzle reel or something. I think that's the most, like, I would be disappointed if they do anything more than that. Because I think they have other stuff to show that I don't think it's necessary for them to do that.
Yeah.
That being said, though, they still have the tournament. So if they have anything to say, I'm sure they could do it during the tournament.
Yeah. It's tough to tell because there's a lot of doubt that Xenoblade will not even make it this year. Same with Fire Emblem.
Yes and no. I think that Xenoblade's definitely going to. They announced pretty recently that they finished all the audio stuff. Mm-hmm. So all the audio is like recorded and done. Like I think the only reason to delay it would be for marketing. I have no reason to think that it's not going to make it out in Japan at least. Maybe in Americas and such it'll come out later. But it seems like they're heavily targeting a simultaneous release for that sort of thing, and I feel like they can make that. I think with Fire Emblem 2, it's because it's Fire Emblem Warriors, so it's like a Warriors style, like, you know, kind of dragon or a Dynasty Warriors style thing. Yeah. Hyrule Warriors even kind of.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be that much to translate, so I don't think that's going to be that big of a deal for them to... I think that they can make that and have that be out by October.
Yeah, I can see that.
Whereas they announced there's going to be a full Fire Emblem like Switch game coming out in 2018. That, I think, will probably be something that comes out in Japan, like, let's say February, and then we get that in, like, summer. Although, same time, they just came out with Fire Emblem Shadows of Valencia for the 3DS, and that was like a 1-month turnaround between the Japanese release and the...
I could see them... also talking about the mobile game for Fire Emblem.
Yeah, yes and no.
On their mobile front for whatever they have for the rest of this year too.
Maybe. I don't know. Like it's something where I'm not against them showing mobile stuff. I think it makes sense. Though again, I think they probably would have mentioned mobile stuff in the thing. Like I feel like it's good to expect Switch and 3DS stuff, but the mobile stuff may be a little shaky. Mm-hmm. But they've been pretty good about coming out with and doing events for the mobile game over the last couple months since the game came out. I don't know if they would really have much to really say about, like, well, here's... And
that's also worth noting, though, is that directs for Nintendo aren't just one time a year, like E3 is. So maybe don't go into it expecting the world. Because I know we talked about on the E3 episode, we played Mario Kart, shout out.
Check it.
But we wanted to see what's on the horizon.
Right.
Like 2018 too, but it doesn't look like we're going to get that.
Yeah.
And also like now we found out that it's going to be 30 minutes, so it's like, okay, so we can see that it's going to be more compact.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, truth be told, like, even if it, like, when I think of Horizon, if I think of just knowing what's past, what's the fall lineup, I think I'm good. Because, like, we kind of know what's coming out in the summer. And, like, what we don't know is what's going to really happen in... I mean, now we know Pokken is coming out in September and that sort of thing, and we have Dragon Quest coming out in Japan in September and things like that, but, like, we don't really know what's, like, firm release dates for September, October, November, December, and I think that fiscal year. So, like, I would say going into, like, next March. And I think that if I can get stuff going into at least December, it would be nice to get stuff going into that March.
Yeah.
But, like, it would be, if I get that, I'd be happy, because that would be sufficient enough for me. You know...
I could see them announcing Smash for early next year. The only reason I can't see that Smash coming out this year is because of Pokken. I can't imagine that they would want to release Smash anywhere near Pokken.
Yeah, I guess, but it's also, they're so different. And
yeah, but still, it's just Pokken, you're gonna have Pokken, you're gonna have ARMS, and then Smash on top of that. I don't know. If I was Nintendo, if I was Nintendo, I would want to hold off on Smash.
I feel like I could see it going both ways. I can see it going either way.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they just throw out like Smash in, like you said, in August.
Well, what I'm thinking
July,
is July because that's when the Amiibo are going to come out. But like I can see it also coming out as like a February game. Yeah. But what I'm thinking about Smash is it's again a known quantity because I don't think it's going to come out with Smash 5. It's going to be Smash 4 DX. Yeah. So if you're going to come out with a DX game and you think about Pokken DX, and then you think about how quickly they've cornered the niche market of fighting game, because if they were to come out with and by September have Smash, Pokken, ARMS, they would have Street Fighter 2, and they would have King of Fighters and all the other bevy of Neo Geo games, the Switch has very quickly become like the place to go for fighting games because it has such a wide range of fighting games and different varieties of it that I think that that's like a strong selling point for a holiday season to have when you can say like, you know, like if you're into this one genre, like, yo, check it out. We got 10 different games that you might like that are into that.
Yeah.
And I feel
I
like
wouldn't be surprised. I just don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm willing to go either way, but like it also fills that niche where like I think we mentioned it before during the video. Check out right there, look at it. But like I think that you supplement new games with DX games. I think that's just the best way to do that because you still have some people that were Wii U owners, but you have a lot of people that weren't, and like these games are, for all intents and purposes, to them new. So if they're new games to them, then you might as well sell it to them. But if you can combine that with and give a push to a newer title at the same time. So like if you were to come out with Smash DX and also Splatoon, that's a nice 1-2 punch. Yeah. You come out there with a brand new title that entices new people to want it, and then you say, oh, by the way, we have this version of a game that's now on this system. That kind of has a lot of, you know, weight behind it, I think.
On the topic of Wii U ports, man, I would love to see some of those games, though.
For sure.
Captain Toad, let's go, bring it back.
Captain Toad, I'm so down.
That was such a good game for the Switch.
Hell yeah.
I love that game. That game was such a nice little package. What was it? It launched at $40, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I'm in a position where I would love Captain Toad, but...
Wow, what do you...
I would love Captain Toad, too.
Oh.
And then maybe you put some of those old stages on there, you know?
Let's get a pre-order bonus. Get the Captain Toad 1 with the order of Captain Toad 2.
Shit,
make it $60 then if they want to, you know, because you imagine if it's going to be the same kind of setup, it'll be $40 on its own.
Right.
Throw in Captain Toad 1 though.
Oh shit. Hey, no complaints from this guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, certain things I think I would want to see the DX treatment, certain things I'd want to see sequels to. Like Splatoon, I'm happy is getting Splatoon 2 as opposed to Splatoon DX. Yeah. But at the same time, to Smash, I'm fine with it being a DX as opposed to a Smash 5 because the amount of work and effort.
And plus, there was DLC post Smash, Smash that they would add to.
So it makes sense to make like a Game of the Year style collection. Yeah. Then you think about something like Mario Maker. I can go either way. Like I would actually be fine if they made a Mario Maker DX, maybe add a little content, or I honestly would probably prefer Mario Maker 2. But like if they were to get some form of Mario Maker on there, I'd be down. And like I think about like Nintendo Land. I would actually like to see Nintendo Land on there, but if like, well, I would see DX, I would see Nintendo Land.
You already know how I feel about that game.
Hell yeah, man.
That's the sole reason why I still own the Wii U right now. Even though I love a lot of the games on our library, I feel like some of those will get ported over, or you know, not to drop the Semu, it's called the emulator out there, but it's making fast progress. So who knows where that'll go in the future? But Nintendo Land is such a nice gem. Where if they evolve that so you're not needing the second screen experience, but put it to a Switch, like with maybe a sequel or new minigames or whatnot.
Well, that's the thing. Like I said, I'd prefer a sequel by far, but they have this wealth. It's the 1-2 thing. You can kind of see them going either way, right? Yeah. Because you have this wealth of games that, frankly, not a lot of people played, and all you have to do is do some port work, put it out there, and then you have a game to kind of bolster up your library. It's, you know, just a smart play, you know? But at the same time too, it's like, given the option, I would always prefer to have a sequel, right? I would definitely want Nintendo Land 2 as opposed to Nintendo Land DX, but I can see them doing the easy route and going with Nintendo Land DX because it just makes financial sense.
Yeah.
But all that being said, I expect to probably see some announcements of DXs. So I think that
we haven't heard before.
Yeah, okay. I think we'll see some new ones. I think Smash, whether it be something that's coming out this year or early next year, I think that this would be a perfect time to announce it. I think that they totally should. I think that Mario Maker makes more sense too for something to do.
Yeah, they got it. That's another one they got to bring over.
And I think those are like more locks, but like
thinking of Wii U games.
Yeah, for DX stuff that I think are locks that I think they would totally go for. Not like ones
those
that I
are
would
definitely
want.
the big ticket ones.
Right.
Anything else would be a surprise. You know?
Yeah.
Unless it was just a straight port and not a DX version. Because the distinguishing factor of DX is that it's either adding in content that wasn't in the base game or adding additional content that we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Like the 3v3 mode with the Pokken.
Right. Or like Pokken was something that I was like, I thought was a lock for DX too, because they've been updating the arcade game for a while and they've been adding characters
they had
and stuff.
the DLC, right.
So like this is now, it's like basically it's the Game of the Year edition. So like I look at DX as basically just being like Game of the Year edition. So if they were to come out with Smash, I wouldn't necessarily say that I would expect to have new characters. I just think that it would probably be on this base copy of the game. You get all of the DLC on it. And then maybe you get some extra stages from the 3DS game. And then that'd be it. Like, I think that alone would be enough for me because I'd be able to put it on like a portable and have it on like a thing that I can carry with me.
Yeah.
That would be sufficient.
What I would love if they did with Smash is, you know, they made fine adjustments to Mario Kart, like with the items, the two items and whatnot. The pink sparks.
Right.
If they changed some
balance update.
They updated something with Smash, like maybe, I'm gonna get a little in detail here, but you can't, like if you're shielding on a ledge and like you're on a corner of a ledge, if you're shielding, you don't get knocked off anymore. I would like for other things like lag canceling to return, even though I'm not expecting it. Just little details like that where
I could see it being a balance patch.
Game.
I can see them doing a balance patch with it.
Yeah.
What I expect more though is like outside of balance patch stuff. Like I think that makes sense for them to do, right?
Yeah.
But what I expect more is like, you know, there's a whole bevy of 3DS content that now you only have Smash Run on 3DS.
That's definitely the number one thing you would expect from a Smash DX.
You know, that I think is what you would want. I'd be happy with that. I think it'd be great to get more characters out of it, but like, you know, I'd be good with just that. No complaints from me for that.
Virtual console.
Just about to bring that up.
I
really want them to do it, but now again, in the time period between when we did the last thing, short amount of time, and they announced the online plans. So the online plans are you're gonna have 4, 8, and 20. So $20 for a year. And with that, you get the ability to do what is the Classic Game Collection. The Classic Game Collection is basically like a Netflix style. Right now, it's currently only NES games. Yeah. You know, we really don't know. They said SNES games are under consideration, so we really don't know how that's going to pan out. But you basically get online versions of these games. You can play online with them.
Compatibility.
Right. So like you can play in the 3-day list are Dr. Mario, Super Mario Bros. 3, and can't remember what the other one is offhand. But irregardless, like it would basically mean like if we were to play Mario 3, you play and then I'd kind of, I guess, watch you play and then it'd be my turn or whatever. It'd basically be we would play Mario 3 online. Yeah. Which is pretty cool. But with that, then they were asked about Virtual Console and they didn't really have anything to announce at this time. Of course, that could just mean E3 they have something to say. But what I'm expecting it to be is that you have Virtual Console and you have the Classic Game Collection as two things that live in tandem. The Virtual Console are offline versions of these games. There are games that are more closely comparable to the original. They don't really have much in changes of edits and stuff, and they're ones that you own permanently when you pay them. Whereas with the online game collection, you only have access to that if you pay the $20 or
you think they'll separate the two?
I think so, because otherwise why call it Classic Game Collection? Like, I feel like make a distinction between the two. I think that there's a value to, like, I will sell you this Super Nintendo game for $7, and also for $20 a year, you can get a Netflix-style queue that'll be updated or maybe rotated or whatever of Super Nintendo games with online compatibility.
And $20 is definitely very fair.
Right. You know.
Well, let's hope the online features improve with future games, but
Right, and like see how big the roster ends up being.
as
Like
far
it's
as
gonna
like
be
a
only 3
reveal
games
for
or
what the
something.
price was, it's not a.
I got no problem spending $20 a year. It's no skin off my back. I'm already spending $120 for the other companies, so like I can drop another 20 for this. For
Shit,
that.
I haven't paid $60 for Xbox Live or PSN in ages.
I hear that.
But no, market value, yeah.
But like I can see them saying like, listen, you give us $7 for this game. Maybe it has online, maybe it doesn't. For a Super Nintendo game, let's say. But you own it permanently. Whereas if you pay the $20 for a year, you get like the rotating whatever we have Netflix style thing. Maybe you'll have that game that you want to play at the time. Maybe it won't.
Yeah.
But more importantly, this is something where like you can have it. Obviously, they're not going to. So with this announcement, they also delayed the actual like online program till 2018. So they're gonna have like a free, like the app is coming out with Splatoon 2, and it's gonna be a free version, but the actual like program itself, where you can give them money, isn't happening till 2018. So I can imagine a situation where it's like you get the virtual console, you get to have these things now earlier, and then a year down the line, you get to have them when they're on the classic thing. So it's like a matter of paying it. So I think there's a value and a possibility you have both virtual console and the classic game system service. I think you could definitely have both.
Yeah.
I don't think one necessarily negates the other. But
No, definitely.
we'll kind of
Talking it out, it makes more sense if they do it that way. Because you figure the service is more, like you said, Netflix or something we see right now with the Game Pass and Xbox.
Right.
Whereas Virtual Console is just a straight up marketplace where you don't have to subscribe to anything. Just get your whatever games they put on it.
Right. It's like I feel like I want to play Super Mario World right now. It's okay. Here, look, $7 and it's yours, and you own it in perpetuity. You know, it's yours forever.
I'm looking forward to whenever they do announce it, but again, going back to E3, I can't see it.
Hard to say. You know,
And if it is, it's probably just a mention. You know.
Maybe I honestly I don't need it to be more than a mention, other than if that mention is out now. Like that's kind of what I was expecting.
The mention I need is GameCube support.
Yes, that's also the other mention I need. But like straight up, they're like, listen, like right now you can get NES, Super Nintendo, N64, and some GameCube support. I'd be super down. But like also if they're like, listen, you can get NES, Super NES, and N64. I'd be okay with that too.
Yeah,
But like, I definitely would want GameCube. But that's what I want. Is I want to be like, I want to be able to play that stuff now. You know, like I want that on there. I want to be able to transfer my stuff over. I want to be able to spend the buck.
And we know everything's gonna go forward,
right,
with the unified account. It'll be interesting to see if they'll have anything to tie previous purchases, maybe like an upgrade program, like what we saw with the Wii to Wii U.
I wonder what they'll do with like the My Nintendo stuff, because that's how they did it on the Wii to Wii U. It was all through My Nintendo, so I wonder how they would do it. Maybe eShop account, maybe something like that. But I feel like if they do that and it's like a same upgrade fee style of like being $1, I'd be okay with that. Yeah. Give me save states. Give me the ability to do
save states, baby.
Hell yeah, son. There are things that make me worry about whether or not the Virtual Console will be out anytime soon, though, because I look at, obviously, my desire to have it and so on and so forth, but recently in Japan, they came out with the Seiken Densetsu collection, which is Seiken Densetsu 1, 2, and 3, which is Secret of Mana, and they're ROMs. Like, one is a Game Boy game, the other two are Super Nintendo games. If you're going to come out with Virtual Console, why wouldn't you come out with them on that? Similarly, they also announced during the Pokemon Direct that they're going to have the Pokemon Gold and Silver come out in September, the same day as Pokken, for the 3DS.
Yeah, for 3DS, yeah.
Now, at the same time, too, when you think about the Wii U, it had Super Nintendo, NES, Super Nintendo, N64, it had Game Boy Advance, but never had Game Boy and Game Boy Color. So...
And the libraries weren't very beefy, to put it lightly.
So I can see them not necessarily having Game Boy games on this. Yeah. So there are, for every like pro you have,
they gotta come out swinging with this Virtual Console, man.
I think so. I agree.
Yeah.
At the same time, too, like straight up, you give me Mario right now, and that holds me over to Odyssey, and I'm good. Like, it's a weird thing to say because, like, I have this new hardware, and there's a lot of software coming out for it. But at the same time, too, I sit here. And, like, I'd love to hang out with a podcast and, like, just play fucking Link to the Past again. And, like, I have my Wii U here and I can do it. But I'd love to do it on the Switch and have it on the go and just be able to take it with me and just be like, all right, so I gotta head out to work and just toss it in my bag and just go. It's like it's a different situation, you know.
The Switch is a perfect console for that kind of thing. It's just
right.
Going forward, it's the perfect hub for all things Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see these games return.
Right. You know, I have other ways to play it. I have a fucking modded 3DS that has Link to the Past on it, but I want to do it on the Switch. I want it on that nice big screen, you know?
Want to wrap up the 3DS, keep it nice and preserved. Let's go Switch. Let's go big time.
I hear you.
But support for the 3DS is not ending.
Nope. So you have a lot of stuff coming out for that. So I don't think we'll see much Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon. I think we'll probably see it played on the Treehouse, but I don't think we'll see it in this Direct itself. Atlas got out and said that they're gonna port over, or like there's some games that were announced previously that they just gave like dates windows for. So like Etrian Odyssey 5, Shin Megami Tensei Redux, the Strange Journey Redux, and blanking on what the other one is. But those are coming out late fall and early 2018. So I was thinking that they were gonna have those during the Direct, but I don't know. You know, why come out with that stuff beforehand? Could be either way. Yeah. You know, Atlas Games, Shin Megami Tensei is pretty big, and a lot of people like Etrian Odyssey and stuff like that. So I can see it going either way.
Anything else for Nintendo that we haven't touched upon?
I mean, we talked about a lot of stuff. Again, check out the video. But I mean, like, at the same time, too, like, there's a lot of, like I said, I really want to see what it is they have that's outside of what's been announced. I'm really excited to see Mario. I'm hoping that it's not part of the Direct. I'm hoping it's part of the after show. I'm hoping that we see some of that new stuff, new content, some of that new games. I want to see. Again, I'm fine with some DXs and some Virtual Console. You give me that and I'm good.
On Mario, it's tricky because I want to see that game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I need to see it. I don't want to see it. I need to see that game.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
you don't want to see too much.
I don't want to see too much.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm going to get that game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a balance of how much should they reveal and if I'm going to have self-control to watch it. Because I didn't watch all of the Zelda footage before that came out.
Right.
And I imagine I'll probably do the same with Odyssey. Probably after E3 I'll go dark. I don't know.
True.
But I probably won't. Who knows? 'Cause I love the way it's looking so far. That's my biggest anticipation.
My stance I've taken with this stuff is if you're going to show it during the Direct or during marketing, then I'll watch it. But past that point, I'm not going to actively seek out stuff.
Yeah.
Like with Zelda especially, now that I can talk about it, especially since it's all done, the game's out, played it.
Well, don't drop any spoilers if that's what you're about to.
Of course. But when they showed the Treehouse in E3, and they showed all those different gameplay and all that stuff, I watched all of it, and I feel fine with doing that because it was all so different, and that one was such a minuscule part of the map. It's literally that intro part of where you're at.
That's what I'm hoping for with
if they show Odyssey, and it's just basically like here's what the hub is, maybe you fuck around with the hub, and here's 3 different worlds you go into, I would be fine with that, and I would watch that over the course of the day on the Treehouse. I would have no problem with that.
Yeah.
But that's basically what I would need. Now, in Canada, at least, they're doing at Best Buys demos for Super Mario Odyssey. I'm hoping they do something like that here because I would love to go to a Best Buy
your passport ready?
And play that fucking game. Well, I'm saying I'm hoping they do it here.
If they don't, though.
Hey, let's go. I'm in.
Fuck it.
I know where it is. Won't take us that long to get there.
Oh, how cool would it be if they were, and you can play it right now? There's a demo.
That would be the smart thing to do. I love that style of demo thing.
A test shine. Or a test star or something. I don't know.
I hear that. I feel like it would be so cool. It's not going to happen.
No, it's not.
Because it's Mario. You don't have to. And like, if you want something like that, you get the engagement with people going to stores.
I'll tell you though, if there's anything remotely close by, we should go.
Absolutely. And
try to record whatever we can.
Mm-hmm.
Try to relive the memories of 64 because that was the first time we both played it. It was we're in kiosks.
Yep.
Man,
Yo,
I'm ready.
they need to do. I don't know what the conceit is of Odyssey yet. We know there's gonna be a hub. I hope so on and so forth. There's gonna be different worlds you go to. Throwback world.
What?
Super Mario 64 style. Like maybe you go back to the old Peach's Castle and you have like different like you go.
Peach's Castle is a world itself.
Yup.
That would be sick.
And you go into the castle and maybe you have like the different doors you go into and like each, like let's say you have to get like 6 different stars in each stage and like maybe like it's like this one's Bob-omb, like you get 1 star in Bob-omb's Battlefield, you get 1 from like Rainbow Cruise, you know, like they do like the greatest hit style of it or something like that. Kind of like what they did for Galaxy where
we're
they
doing
had
pipe dreams, I see.
Pretty much.
Okay. That's a really good one.
Yep.
I'll tell you. Revisiting any of the classic Mario themes, whether it's the Kingdom, maybe Little Big World or whatever it is.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Man, there's so much they can do. Hitting on the nostalgia, man, they can do it. This is the franchise to do it with.
Absolutely.
They come out. There's one world you come out on a bomb battlefield, and then you. Oh my god. Crazy.
It was the thing. Like, I don't know if you remember in Galaxy, man, it was the best part when you went back to Bob-omb.
Wasn't it the second world?
Was it?
Yeah, with
which game had Bob-omb Battlefield?
64 DS.
Well, obviously, yeah. I thought that the first game had Bob-omb Battlefield and the second one had the Thwomp's Fortress. Maybe.
It's been a while. Speaking of which, we need to.
I guess we
those
should.
Games again, yeah.
But
pipes. I guess pipes and dreams time. Hopes and dreams.
What would you want to see? Like, I guess we kind of talked about it for Smash DX. What would you want to see
for Smash?
Yeah, just obviously the balance, but like let's pipe dream it. I think there was a reasonable expectation to balance patch, but what would you expect for pipe dreams?
Bomberman. We got Super Bomberman R. Let's bring Bomberman finally into Smash. Let's go. He's a character now. For me, pipe dreams would be characters.
Right.
I would love stages, like from the 3DS that weren't in the Wii U version. I would love that. I would love some classic stages returning, but mostly characters. I want to see Bomberman is probably my number one. I've been wanting him since 64.
Yeah.
And then if we're not talking balance, because I can talk about that forever. Maybe we should do like if they do anything with Smash. Maybe we'll do like a separate episode for that specifically.
I'm down for that.
And then we can dive into like the balance changes I would like to see and anything else like that. But as far as something else to note, I want to see better online functionality. I want to be able to party up with you online and search for randoms to play what we want when we want. That is probably my number one feature, I guess you could say.
Even better reason for them to come out with it during July. When the online free app comes out, pair it up with Splatoon. Just saying, just making my case. Just making my case.
I think that's a hope and dream. But I could see it though coming out this year. But
yeah, could go either way. Could go.
How about you? Anything from Nintendo where you're like, I don't think I'm seeing it, but I want to see it at some point.
For Smash or in general?
Both.
I still want to see Mother 3. Same thing as last time. I definitely want to see Mother 3. But if I'm going out there, man, I mean, GameCube Virtual Console, I really don't think is that big of a pipe dream.
I mean, it can be argued it is.
maybe. I don't know, man. I mean,
F-Zero GX with online,
I was about to say,
online
man,
multiplayer.
A little bit of up-res in there with
widescreen
on there.
It's crazy if you think about it. Like, a majority of those GameCube games hold up, and none of them are widescreen. You know?
Yep.
Those games are criminally trapped to that generation.
Yep.
Let's go. Bring them back.
And, like, they're stuck on CRTs because of all the lags and fucking shit going on. If I were to say a pipe dream, and this is, like, a super pipe dream because we just had the Pokemon Direct, they announced Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon, Ultra, you know... They come out and they're like, hey, by the way, also it's coming out on Switch. That would be a pipe dream to me, because that would be...
What, Ultra Sun and Moon you're talking about?
Yeah. Okay. Also on the Switch. And that's something that I don't expect at all, because if it were to be the case, why would you not show it during your Direct?
The Direct, right.
It doesn't really fit in line with any of what Pokemon Company does with, like, Black and White and Black and White 2 and all that stuff. Like, they've always released these games on the previous system. Like, it's something that I have no expectation of actually happening, but like, it would be great if that would be the case, because I would love to have, like... Sun and Moon is an excellent game. The 3DS is an old system, and it chugs when you're doing anything of, like the frame rate just goes to shit if there's way too much stuff going on. That alone would justify having it on the Switch, because it would actually run decently, and that would make the game, like, totally different. Even if they were to port Sun and Moon, and then, like, make Ultra Sun and Moon for the fucking 3DS or whatever, I'd be fine with that. I would just want to have some version of these games that runs well, because right now they currently don't. Yeah. And that would be, like, a big deal to me. I'd be down for that. Other than that, there was you know how they're coming out the Castlevania Netflix series? Mm-hmm. So, why not make a Castlevania tie-in game that ties into that Netflix game and is on the Switch?
Exclusive?
Sure. Nice portable in the same Castlevania style as like Portrait of Ruin or those DS games.
Yeah.
So a 2D platformer in a Metroidvania style. I'd be super down for that. And the last one
we have the rumors of the straight up Metroidvania title. It's called Metroidvania game we talked about.
That is true. This is true. That is true.
So I mean, who knows? Maybe that'll be revealed this E3.
Hey, toss in Mega Man and I'm in. You know? I'd be down for that. Megaroidvania. You have to explore around to find upgrades, and then also when you kill like Kraid, you get his ability. You get the power.
That'd be sick.
I would really love it if like Capcom was teasing all that Mega Man shit though, and then all that X shit, and then it turns out that there is like an X game coming out for
maybe a sequel
Switch.
To Mega Man Legends.
Shit. Shit.
It's the year of the 3D platformer.
Shit. And then turns out like butt, because Capcom's making it.
Like butt.
Like
through the butt.
That's kind of the thing about like if they came out with like a Mega Man X9 that was in like the throwback style. I still don't think it would be that good, because I just don't think Capcom could make it, but it would be cool.
Yeah.
I'd be down. I would play the hell out of it.
I have a good one to wrap it up on.
What's up?
I don't know if we should elaborate it.
Oh, shit.
I can just drop one word.
Do it.
And we'll hard end it right there.
So just in case, let's do a wrap, and then you can drop it.
All right. You want to wrap it, then I'll drop...
All right. So, I mean, listen, man, we're about to do it. E3 is about to happen. We're like at this point now, we're 2 days away, because it's almost about to cross over into midnight.
Yep.
So we're at that point where like we're in it.
We're in it to win it. There's a lot that we're looking forward to, a lot that we're hoping to see, things that we know about, things we don't know about.
Yes.
Some of the best things are what we don't know, the surprises there. Overall, just the environment of E3 is a very special thing. And we're glad the gaming industry has something like this. Mm-hmm. And we're looking forward to it. We're excited.
For sure. It's exciting times. We'll see how things are going. And you can check back with us for more content. We're going to try to get some stuff going on after all the press conferences, some impressions. We're going to respond to some of the things that we posited here on if they were correct or not, and how big fools we were for expecting crazy things like Halo on Nintendo Switch.
That would be Master Chief and Smash.
Shit.
I mean, I was going to say that for this pipe dream for Smash. Well, to real quick, anything you want to see for Smash, a pipe dream?
Pipe dream?
A character or something?
Extra character?
Because I'm saying, like, Master Chief, let's get him in here. Phil Spencer has been like, Nintendo, let me know.
Get Reggie in there. Get Reggie. Straight up Reggie. Like, not like a me Reggie, but put Reggie in there.
Banjo-Kazooie?
I was actually about to say that, but I think he's still possible.
There.
Because he has been on the DS and stuff. Like,
let's not diminish Kazooie in this.
True. True. I'd be down for that. I can go that way. Parappa the Rapper.
Crash.
Yep. Oh shit.
Let's put the Crash remake on the Switch. Get Crash in there and Spyro. Fuck it.
Shit. Let's
Crash,
go.
Spyro.
Crash, Spyro, Rabbids, Rayman, fucking Bomberman, Simon Belmont,
Spider-Man,
Bubble
and Goku.
Bubble and Bob, Ice Climbers, Goku, Super Saiyan Goku.
As a separate character?
Oh yeah. Clone character. He's got the heavier fists. Ganondorf equivalent. It's a little slower.
Okay, I see that. All right.
right.
And on that, dropping it off with our last hope and dream. You ready, Bo? Metroid.